Yo, yo. Now. I don't know if anyone can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you see me? That is the most important question of the night. Well, it's not the most important question of the night, but it is a question of the night. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Evening, Pap, all clear. Fabulous. Loud and clear. Excellent. Thank you, Shelley. How you doing, Lucifer? Hiya, Peter. Mickey, how you doing? Roger, nice to see you. I'll be seeing you. What? Evening, Josie. Excellent stuff. Excellent. Let me just double check because I've messed about with my setup a little bit, and the fact that you can see and hear me is obviously a bonus because normally when I mess about with stuff, something goes wrong. So tonight I am extremely glad that you can see and hear me. Not so much for you having to see me, but there we go. He has shaved his head again. He has indeed. Keeping it warm now. Wrong time of the year to be shaving me nuggin. All right, let me open up my YouTube so I can verify my comments that are coming through. Give me a momento. Content. Live. There we are. Let me open that up. Let me close that. And let me mute that. I've got somebody trying to call through on what's it called? Skype. Although I've got a do not disturb up on my Skype. So if you're trying to call me in on Skype, I won't be answering calls in this particular live stream. This, I hope, won't be a very long live stream per se, although I say that quite often and we end up on here for several frickin' hours, but there we go. But I won't be answering any calls on here. I am, however, let me just double check this live chat to make sure I'm not missing anything. Pop that out. Pop out chat. Yep, we'll do that. Should have done this before I came live. And do that and minimize that. And let's get my other one up here like so. And we'll shrink that a bit. Put that over there. Put that over there. Put that up there. And pull that down there. Right, okay. Fabulous. Super duper fabulous. Super smashing great, as they say. Not sure where they say it, but I'm sure somebody says it somewhere. Hello, Lost Souls. How you doing? How you doing, Spiderborg? Nobby Noble, Nod Buggy, Warrior Wales. How you doing, AMG Rider? How are you? No wonder the police arrest you. You look like a hoodie. Not always. I very rarely wear my hood up. Right. Let's have a look. I'm actually on StreamYard tonight. Believe it or not, I am on StreamYard, although I'm running this whole thing through OBS, which means I can do things like this. Wow, how did I get over here? Let's go back here again. Woof, here we go. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. So I've been pissing about today. Done those videos earlier. I didn't put out a video about Cressida the Dick because I wanted to do a live stream about it. Okay, we had lots of videos yesterday about Cressida the Dick. I thought to myself, there's not really much point in doing a video yesterday. I didn't really have the time anyway. Plus, I was talking to somebody, and I decided I'd come on here and do this. So I've been playing around with OBS today after those videos earlier, and yeah, and here we are. So I do want to see if there is anybody out there that wants to come on and talk about Cressida Dick with me. Okay, so I will be putting the link in the in the description, in the comments even. I will be putting the link in the comments. So if anybody out there wants to come on and talk to me, we're going to go through a couple of articles in the papers, okay, in the online. We're going to talk through some of that, and I want to get some other people's opinions as well. Although I do know that many people are going to say, good fucking riddance, glad she's gone, she was crap, blah, blah, blah. And that's great. Okay, I'm happy to have you on. But if there's anybody out there that feels any different, please, click the link when I put it in the comments and jump on and discuss it with us. I will, however, say, very important, because I do know that quite a few live streams have had channel strikes, because some people have been going on and then porn bombing the sites, okay, playing porn through their connection, okay, through their camera. And the problem with that is it gets the channel a strike, and it can get the channel shut down. So I will only be answering, okay, I will only be answering and letting onto the chat people whose names I've seen and who I sort of know-ish, okay? So I have to be careful with that, all right? Obviously, my main concern is the integrity of this channel. If I get a strike, I get a strike for my own problems, not because somebody has tried to get me shut down, okay? So, God, look a bit pasty there, didn't I? I've just realised that. I should have put a filter on here. Let me turn this down a little bit. It's a bit better. That'll do. How you doing, Bus Driving Ninja? So anybody who wants to come on, and what we'll do is we'll go through. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 articles. One from the Evening Standard, one from the Metro, one from the BBC, one from the Express, and one from the Shropshire Star. And I've done that because I want to try and get a range of information from these different places to discuss on this particular live stream. Again, I do not want this live stream to go on for ages. I do know that it is what's his name, Independent Free Press. I know it's his birthday, and he's having what he's calling a birthday party over on his channel as a live stream, which is starting about now. I didn't realise he was doing that until I saw it pop up on a notification a little while ago. So I don't want to do this for too long, because I don't want to interfere with his live stream, which he wants to do, some music and all that kind of stuff over on his channel. But there we go. So let me try and find the link. Where do I find it? There we go. Invite, copy the clipboard, done. Right. So again, what happens is when you click this link and go to StreamYard, if you're on a mobile phone, okay, you're going to have to come away from your YouTube page, okay? So don't worry about that. All you need to worry about is what you see. Comments I can put on the screen anyway, so don't worry about coming away from the YouTube page or app when you go onto StreamYard. But again, I will only accept people who I know or who I've spoken to before, because I have to protect the integrity of this channel. Okay, so you may get through and end up in the back room, the green room, so to speak. And if you do, just sit tight until I get to you. If I don't get to you, please don't take offense. It just means that I'm not sure who you are. Okay, it's completely different to using the phone-ins, because I can talk to people and they can say what they pretty much they want, and I can hang up on them. If somebody jumps on and starts porn bombing, it's they've only got to do a few seconds of that, and I can get done for it on YouTube. So so please understand that I won't be able to let everybody on, just the people that I know that I can trust to be respectful, because I know them. So there we go. There's the link going in the comments now. So in fact, let me see. Let me try and let me try and pin that anyway. Right, that pin message. Boom. Right, now pinned at the top. So let's have a look. And we want to try and keep this on topic as well. We want to keep this on Cressida Dick and the situation surrounding it. Whether we talk about Sadiq Khan, a Home Secretary, we can talk about government, but I want to keep it around that. I don't really want to go off on one and start talking about, C-19 and the latest news that's come out with regards to a virus, which is the first time it's ever killed somebody in the UK, makes you bleed from the eyes, which apparently has now suddenly appeared. Surprise, surprise. But we'll talk about that another time. So, anybody want to come on? Anybody want to jump on? And as I say, I'll get you on. I'll read a couple of bits from these articles, and then we can discuss. We can have you say your piece or what you think or anything like that. So, anybody out there wants to jump on? Hi, Kaz. Hi, Angela. Mr. Josie Wales. Hello, young man.
Hello, Dan. How are you, mate?
I'm not so bad. How are you?
I'm good. Hang on, I'm just trying to turn off the telly. I had you on the telly as well, so I'm trying to turn it off. We don't get an echo.
I'll tell you something, Josie. We have spoken for so long, and I've never heard your voice.
I know, mate. I know. 3 years, I reckon.
And I am absolutely shocked.
I know. It freaks everybody out. They go, how come you've got an Australian accent? And I say, I don't hear my Australian accent.
Oh, man. I am shocked that you are an Oz. Right. Absolutely shocked. And not in a bad way, just never even considered it. So fair play to you, my friend.
And how are you anyway, Dan?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, mate. I'm doing all right. Let me take my hood off because it's a bit rude sitting here indoors with my hood up. It's just I was outside fucking about earlier and my head got cold, but now I'm indoors, so I should take it off. Yeah, no, I'm all good, Josie. I'm all good, and thank you for your support as well over the past few years as well. Been absolutely amazing, and I'm very grateful to you.
No, it's a pleasure, mate. It's an absolute pleasure. It's an honour. That's what it is. It's an honour to be a friend of yours.
That's very kind. Very kind.
Big respect.
Thank you. And hang on, so should we see if we can get anybody else on? That we can get another one or two people we can get on initially. We'll go through, as I say, we'll go through some of these stories or bits of these stories because these different outlets they'll report the same things, but they'll also report slightly different things as well. So that's what I want to get through.
Okay, mate.
I'm just waiting to see. Oh, I'm on top chat again. There we go. How you doing, Locke? Nice to see you. Hiya, Lisa. Veteran observer. How you doing? So while we're waiting, Josie, whereabouts in Oz are you?
I'm not. I'm in Scotland.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough. That kind of makes sense as to why you're always up at the same time we are.
Yeah, no. I'm in Scotland, but I was brought up in Perth, in Australia.
Okay, sounds. How long you been in Scotland? Jockland.
Oh, it's a long story. Right, okay. I'll tell you my story. I think Roger knows it. I came back when I was 16. My dad had cancer, and we came back for treatment for my dad. And I was about 16, 17. No, I wasn't, because I joined up when I was 17. and I joined up. So I ended up, oh Christ, I ended up 1988. I joined the mob, the Royal Navy, and I ended up on submarines. And if you know anything about submarines, you're either in Portsmouth. In those days, it was Portsmouth, Plymouth, or up here in Faslane in Scotland. And
Right.
I did all three places, and I ended up here, up in Scotland, up near Faslane.
And you've been up there ever since?
Yeah, well, I got an ex-wife, I've got kids running around somewhere, and that sort of stuff.
Oh, sound right. Listen, I've got a couple more people. We've got Kaylee. How you doing, Kaylee? And we've got Finn. How you doing, Finn?
Hello.
Good evening.
How you
Brilliant
doing?
to see you, Finn.
I'm good.
Hi,
How are
Kaylee.
Hiya, pleasure to meet you. Virtually.
And
Right.
you.
Awesome. Right, so we've got a few people on, so we can have a discussion. Apologies if I'm missing comments, by the way, in the comments in the chat. You'll have to excuse me. I've got 3 screens going on at the moment, and it's a bit of a nightmare. So what we're going to do is, obviously, I have to talk about Cressida Dick, okay? But what I want to do as well is after we've not now, we'll do it in a little while. I want people that are watching to give us your best puns. Okay, as somebody's got some sound on there, it's interfering a bit. Somebody watching this whilst on the
Not me.
StreamYard. Oh, it's gone.
So
So
sorry.
no worries,
Yeah,
Finn. No
that's
worries.
right, Finn.
So what I want to do is, once we've been through this, I want to give you all a chance to give me your best Cressida Dick puns. Okay. I mean, we've seen loads already. Don't do it now, okay? I done it yesterday. I done one myself yesterday when I, on my short about
Khan got a dick out.
Khan getting the dick out. But I'll give you all the chance to give me your best puns so we can all have a good laugh. But again, not right now. We'll do that shortly. Right. Light my cigarette up because I'm really professional like that.
I got my vape, mate.
I've got a cigarette going.
Okay, so let's start with the Evening Standard, okay? Because the Evening Standard seem to, what they've done is they've got 6 scandals. If you can see the screen, 6 scandals that brought down Met Police Commissioner.
Yeah.
However, they've missed one very important one. Okay, but we'll see if you can pick up on that as we go through. We're not going to watch the videos. We're just going to go through it. So. Obviously, just to confirm as well, the video that I put out yesterday about Cressida Dick saying that she was not going anywhere, I made that video a few hours before, and it was scheduled to go out. The video went out literally at almost the same time that she came out and said she was leaving. Thank you, Marty. Nice to see you. Nice to have you on board, my friend. So her statement came out literally as my video went live. And the last thing I'm going to do is pull a video just because of some outside event. It stays up. My views still stand. And I'm doing this to sort of balance it out because obviously I don't want you to think the amount of comments I was getting saying, she's gone. Why are you putting this out? She's already gone. She has gone. She had gone, but she hadn't at the time of making that video. Just want to make that really, really clear. So we've got Met Police Commissioner has stepped down from her role following a series of scandals. The Met has been dogged by reports of institutional misogyny, racism and homophobia, with calls for Miss Dick to resign to restore confidence in London's police force. As the force looks for a new leader, the Standard looks back to the scandals that brought her down. I'm not going to go through these in depth on here, but I'll just mention what the scandals were. So we got the murder of Sarah Everard and the vigil, okay, where the police went and I think they caused a bit of an issue with the people attending that. We've got the whole thing going on at the moment with Charing Cross Police Station, with the police sending racist, homophobic, misogynistic messages and talking to each other like shit, generally, okay, treating each other in a very disrespectful manner. We've got the delay in investigating Partygate, Although, to be honest, as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a complete waste of time because none of the people involved are going to give two shits about any punishment that they may get. So I think that's a waste of police resources. You've got the security failures at Euro 2020. Now, I'm not a football fan, so I don't really know much about that, I've got to be honest. The Daniel Morgan inquiry. Okay, so Daniel Morgan, a private investigator, he was killed. We've got the police last year who shared pictures of the sisters' bodies that were found in a park who had been stabbed after going to a birthday party. And that is what all they've got on here at the moment. Okay. Now I know there's at least one other major one which hasn't been mentioned. I'm sure some people have mentioned it in the chat there. I'm sure we'll bring it up shortly because it's actually mentioned on a different publication. But we can see that there is a huge amount of fuck ups that not just Cressida Dick, let's face it, okay, it's not just her, okay, there are other people within the Metropolitan Police who are of a position to be able to have some kind of influence, okay. Ultimately, yes, it boils down to Cressida Dick, but there are others there. We've got Baz Javid, okay, he has a position that does hold some sway, and he didn't do anything either. Okay, so it's not just Cressida Dick. Let's be clear about that. And I'm not sticking up for her either. So just before anybody thinks I'm, sticking up for the rug muncher, I'm not.
She's not the only
I'm probably going to get told off by someone in the comments for using that discriminatory term of calling her a rug muncher. But you know what? It's a joke. Get over it. Anyway. So when we move on to the Metro, which again, the scandals that forced Cressida Dick out of the Met. Numerous calls for her to leave the post following a series of scandals. She took the role of commissioner in 2017 after holding a number of high-ranking positions within the police force. Bearing in mind that she's only really just been given the extension, hasn't she? She was given an extension to hold that position by Priti Patel, even though all of these balls ups have been happening. Okay, so Priti Patel was failed massively as well by saying, "Yeah, go on, we'll let you keep on for a bit." Do you know what I mean? I'm sure it's not completely fucked just yet, so we'll let you keep trying. Hello, Princess Angela. Thank you so much. So here we go. The one that they missed on the Evening Standard is Jean-Charles de Mendes. Okay, which is another very high profile case that was absolutely ballsed up. Operation Midlands. Okay, which is to do with Carl Beach, who said he was a victim of a paedophile ring. Lots of high-ranking people, lots of people in positions of power that were named. And obviously the inquiry found massive amounts of failures. Again, Sarah Everard and the Vigil, the racism, misogyny, etc. within Charing Cross, Daniel Morgan inquiry, the Wembley Euros, Charing Cross Police Station. So these have mentioned almost the same as Evening Standard, but with addition of Jean-Charles de Mendes.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to ask you guys on the stream with me, is there anything else you can think of where she has ballsed up, just to add to a list that the mainstream media are probably suppressing somewhat?
Black Lives Matter riots in the UK when they kneeled for criminals and then arrest people who are protesting for freedom. That's a big one they missed.
Yeah,
absolutely. Got to agree with you there. Got to agree with that. Anything else?
Near them while getting punched in the face.
I'm surprised they weren't taking a blurt to the face, shall we say, rather than a punch to the face. They was at the right height for it, and they was in the right position for it. But Yeah, that
You
is a
got
massive
the
ball, massive
you got
balls up.
sorry, you got the WhatsApp group chat where they were calling a couple of black officers monkeys and stuff like that.
That was different to the Charing Cross one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
separate incident that they were investigating. So that's another one, another example of just racist officers.
right. Now, I want to be clear when we, as I go through this, I'm talking about misogyny, racism, homophobia. Okay, discrimination of any kind is wrong. Okay,
Of course.
we can all have a joke and we can all have a laugh, but discrimination as such, okay, where you actually despise somebody based on a characteristic of theirs. I'm not going to say protected characteristic because it can be any characteristic, okay,
Yeah.
that you discriminate against people over. So any of that should, is wrong, especially for people in positions that hold such authority and such standing in the community. These are supposed to be pillars of the community. Years ago, these were people that everybody in the community looked up to. Nowadays, these are people that everybody in the community tries to avoid.
Facts.
Can you think of anything else, Josie, Finn, Kaylee?
Yeah, what was that WPC who Free Palestine at the Palestinian demonstration? She was there shouting, chanting Free Palestine as well.
So
letting
her political views get involved.
Yeah, well, more religious as well. It was Islam against the Jewish religion or faith. Yeah.
Okay, and we know that their policy, their codes of practice, they're not allowed to voice their political views.
Yeah, non-partisan.
Which is why we hear so many. When people question them, they go, "Oh, well, I've got no comment. I've got no opinion on that." For example, but
one minute they're kneeling for Black Lives Matter, then they're chanting Free Palestine. Now the police aren't the police; they're the political police. Tell me how am I life?
They've been the political arm of they've been the policing arm of the political elite for a long time. They haven't been the police for the public, which is what they were for initially. Okay, they were to keep us safe, to keep everybody safe, but they were there to stop wrongs being done towards us, to stop us doing wrongs to other people. But now it's not a case of necessarily doing wrong to other people. As we know, it's more about, if somebody gets a boo-boo on their fee-fees, and just because somebody goes, I don't agree with that. I do not like the way that they use that particular word in that particular sentence, in that particular tone of voice. The next thing you know, you've got police putting your door through and seizing all of your equipment. I mean, what is that all about, really?
And I've got another couple.
Go on.
One of them, Rotherham, Durham, Luton. What happened there? I don't want to say too much, but that, and also their constant abuse of Section 5, which is one of the things that makes me most angry about the police is their constant abuse of Section 5. And the fact is that most of the time they should be the ones getting the Section 5 because they're the ones who have breached the peace and they're the ones who are harassing people and making people feel uncomfortable, not the other way around. So if anything, it should be citizens who start slapping a Section 5 on them, taking their cuffs and arresting them and handcuffing them to a pole. That's what should happen.
I mean, agree with what you're saying. The thing about the Rotherham, I don't personally, and some of you may disagree with me, and that's absolutely fine. That's what this whole channel's about. I don't necessarily feel that the Met Police were a failure to the Rotherham incident as such, because it shouldn't have been dealt with them in the first place. It should have been dealt with. Was it Yorkshire Police, wasn't it? If I remember rightly.
Yeah. Yorkshire,
so it should have been dealt with Yorkshire, but my geography is terrible. So it should have been dealt with Yorkshire Police properly in the first place. And the fact that they didn't do it properly meant that other people had to get involved. So we've got to put the blame where it lies initially in that respect, I think, and that is the Yorkshire police. But again, I'm not knocking your
you could bring it back
observation
even
there.
further. You could bring it back even further and blame Priti Patel for bringing in 20k refugees on dinghy boats, escorted by our navy.
Yes, but again,
you could bring it back to them.
This has been going on for a long time before Priti Patel, before she became Home Secretary.
Yeah, but it's ramped up. It's really ramped up. Like you've got like 28,000 people in 4-star hotels, £125 a night at taxpayers' dime.
Yeah, I think it's
run your business.
I think it's working out about 5 million a day or something to house these people in hotels.
Yeah, you take a month of that pot, you can take every homeless person off the street. If you took
absolutely.
It's not just that. Do you guys know about the policy, the policy that they have? I only learnt about this last month, and I know this is going off topic, which you don't really want to do, but just as you brought it up, do you know that they give benefit of the doubt to all of the men that say that they're children and that they're underage? They give them benefit of the doubt as long as they look under 25.
Most of them don't. I've watched documentaries on it. Yeah. Most of them don't. They look about 40.
Yeah,
this is it. But
that's
think about it in the inversion of that. If we go into Tesco's and want to buy some alcohol or some cigarettes, we need ID that we're over 25. Do you know what I mean? How backwards is that?
Exactly.
How backwards?
Yeah.
We're a backwards country. We're a backwards country. We're paying. We're paying for the demise. We're paying for our own demise now. We're paying to get fucked over in every. I said this on his last street. We're paying to get fucked over in every single way possible.
Exactly.
Your tax. You're not getting any. That national insurance. That's a myth. There's no pot of national insurance. That doesn't exist. That money just goes towards other bullshit regimes. There's no national insurance.
Don't even know their pensions don't even exist anymore. Most of them aren't even aware of this.
They don't. To be fair, they don't deserve pensions. If I'm honest, so I don't really care about that.
The caliber of people that are being brought into the police. But back on topic, I wanted to just say to you, Dan, there is a case, a very prolific case that I've already mentioned to you in private that I do not want to mention in public. That she has definitely had failings with. I don't even want to mention it. You know the one I'm talking about. I know she wasn't in that position in the first instance, but there's been a lot since then going on around that. That's a huge one for me. But again, it's just that one's so big I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to name it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, you just mentioned pensions there. Something I've been looking at today. I've been looking at the Police Pensions Act. Okay, and going through this, what I've been doing is trying to find out or trying to establish what the actual rules with regarding police pensions are when they are found guilty of a crime. Now, I'm still looking through it at the moment. Okay, still part of my ongoing research, but that's something that I've been looking through this afternoon. Not only that, I've been looking through the Police Reform and Social Responsibility Act, which is to do with Cressida Dick and her walking away from the Metropolitan Police. But again, we'll go into that in a short while. So we've gone through these reasons that have, or the failings that have plagued the Met from the Evening Standard and the Metro. Now, I hate all of these because they're all mainstream media, but we have to go through them because we have to be transparent, we have to be fair, and we have to look at all the information that's available. Now, that means I have to look at the BBC as well, which I know that none of you like, and nor do I. But we have to be fair, okay? So again, here we go, talking about some of the controversies, etc., from Cressida Dick, from the disgraceful misogyny, discrimination, and sex harassment among some Metropolitan PCs from Charing Cross, the Sarah Everard case, etc. Now, here it talks slightly different to the other two reports that we've just looked at. Here it goes a bit more into about the resignation, about her successor, will be appointed by the Home Secretary in consultation with the Mayor of London, and talking about what Khan said. Now, I couldn't give two shits what Khan says because I think he's just an absolute prick as well. But again, in the interests of fairness, we'll just go through this. So it says Khan said that he was not satisfied with Dame Cressida's response to the scale of change required to root out racism, sexism, homophobia, bullying, and misogyny in the Met. On being informed of this, Dame Cressida Dick has said she will be standing aside. Okay, now we've got to bear in mind that only 24 hours before, even after that comment came out from Khan, she said, "I'm not going anywhere." So something's happened in the meantime. Something has happened, whether it's a change of heart from her or whether somebody higher up than Khan has turned around and said, "No, sorry, you're fucking out." Okay. And I said it in my video yesterday. She won't be fired. She will be offered the chance to resign. Okay, and I said that in my video before she resigned, and she obviously went on to resign, and I said that was going to happen. And I think most people knew that was going to happen, to be fair, because that's unfortunately how the police roll, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? We've got to protect our own, even though they're a complete and utter failure. I want to point out, and I put this on my social media yesterday. The loads of people with a lot of clout on Twitter and Facebook were saying that Khan sacked her. Khan got rid of her. No, he didn't. Khan did not get rid of Cressida Dick. Okay, and the reason he didn't get rid of Cressida Dick is based on the. Let me bring this up. Let me make this bigger. No, that's making it smaller. The Police Reform and Social Responsibilities Act 2011. Okay. The Mayor's Office for Policing and Crime may, subject to subsection 5 and 6, and with the approval of the Secretary of State, call upon the Commissioner of Police of the Metropolis to resign or retire, or the Deputy Commissioner of the Police. Okay. So, subject to sections 5 and 6. Section 5, before calling upon a commissioner to retire or resign, the Mayor's Office for Policing and Crime must give the police officer a written explanation of the reasons why the office is proposing to call for the retirement or resignation, give them the opportunity to make written representations, and consider any written representations made by the police officer. And 6, the Mayor's Office of Police and Crime must comply with subsection 5, which is what we've just read, before seeking the approval of the Secretary of State to act or to call upon the Commissioner or Deputy Commissioner to retire or to resign. That means that Sadiq Khan can only make the request. He can't sack or get her to resign. He doesn't have the power. He can make the he can approach the Secretary of State, but it is ultimately the Secretary of State that has to make that final decision. So with everybody going around going, "Oh, but Khan sacked her." Khan, no, he didn't. Khan is pretending that he sacked her. He's letting people say that about him because his ratings are so far in the toilet, and he needs to be re-elected next year or this year, whenever it is, to become mayor again, that he wants people to think that it was him in order to be re-elected. That is what's happening. Okay, so I want to make that entirely clear for people who think that it was Khan that got rid of her. All right, because it weren't. He may have made the suggestion to Priti Patel, but ultimately, she has the final say in matters. So
it's fair.
Of course it is. Of course it's all.
It's fair. That's all it is.
It's all politically motivated.
Khan's ratings are, I don't know, probably worse than Joe Biden's at this point. And it's at the point now where no matter how much fraud and ballot harvesting you do, people now are voting on. You've got pretty much two sides now: the authoritarian left with COVID and mask mandates and everything, and you got the side of leave me the fuck alone and let me get on with my life.
Yeah.
Now, what seems more radical to you? Because it's definitely not our position, I can promise you that. The side that want to be left alone and just go to work and earn their money and just do what they were doing before COVID, and you have the other side who, if you will not comply and submit in every single aspect that they ask for you, you'll be cancelled, you'll lose your job, you'll have police come and raid your door because they've got no actual crimes to do, because they don't deal with crime anymore, they deal with thought and feelings. And they are your two things you're voting on now. Do you want freedom or do you want communism? They're your two options. And no matter how much fraud you do, you're not going to win. There's too many of us. There's too many of us. Unless you shut down every single election booth for like 12 hours to bring in your ballots, or harvest them, or do whatever the hell they do, or burn them, destroy some, whatever, however they do it, you physically won't be able to win the election, because there's so many people now who are fed up of the bullshit. They just want to go back to normal. People have been feeling this for at least 9 months now. People are sick and tired, and they want to go back to normal, and they're sick and tired of having to wear a nappy on their face, because if they don't, they're going to get hit with a baton by a policeman on a train. People are fed up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we've seen too much go on over the past 2 years. As you say, people are quite rightly fed up. And I don't think we can blame anybody for that. I'm fed up. I can tell you're fed up.
Everyone knows I'm fed up.
The political games that are being played now, I mean, you've for example, and I don't want to go off topic, but just as an example, we'll talk about the restrictions just for a moment. People, the people that were telling us that this, deadliest pandemic in history or living history or whatever, you know what I mean? One of the worst things ever to happen to this planet. And yet all of a sudden they're now turning around going, oh yeah, we're going to stop mask mandates. Okay. But for so long, it's been so deadly and so dangerous. Why are you able to say, okay, fuck it, we're not going to bother with them now? You can't do that.
Polling.
Exactly.
They go on
of course it is.
Their policies are based on polling. Now they're polling really, really bad, and they're going to lose the midterms. They're like, shit. We need to get rid of all, because people don't want it. That's what they're doing, and that is the biggest indicator that these people do not represent you and do not want the best for you. Because
do you think potentially
they will only
be slightly more sinister than that, in terms of that there's actually a lot more going on behind the scenes, and we've got this facade at the moment where everybody's kind of now getting a little bit of hope up, because look, we're starting to win, we're starting to get all of our liberties back, we're starting to get this, but there's a lot. When all this party stuff started happening, we should have really been, this is so contrived, it's so blatant. This is a pure cover. I mean, look what's going on in the background. Look what's going on with Prince Andrew. Look what's going on with Ghislaine Maxwell. Look what's going like. These are the really big things that we should all be talking about. Not that, we don't have to wear a nappy on our face anymore. We're so lucky. We've all gone back to normal. There's so much else going on that's not being spoken about.
Sorry, go on. Sorry.
No, carry on. Come on.
No, I was going to say there's various different angles that you can look at it and say it's being done for this reason, it's being done for that reason. You can say that because of Partygate, they've lost all faith. The public has now lost complete faith in the government, and they're like, shit, now we're going to have to lose the restrictions, because now no matter what news station you're watching, everyone's reporting on Partygate now. Everyone knows about it now. When it first broke, not that many people knew, but everybody knows now. So that could be a reason why. You also have the Prince Andrew and that disastrous cover-up of a trial they had for Ghislaine Maxwell, which we won't get into, but that was a cover-up. So there's many different ways, there's many different angles you can look at it and say, this could be the reason why, this could be the reason why. But I think one of the things you said before, which is important, is they want us to think that we're winning. We're nowhere near winning. We might have won a battle, but we are in a war here. We're in a war to get our country back, to get our world back. Look at Canada. Yeah. They froze the GoFundMe, and now everyone's saying they need to give Sengo. And Canada's trying to freeze that and give Sengo. I go, no, you're fucking not. You are not freezing this. Yeah. This is war. People don't realize it. We are in a war here.
It's true. It's fact. It's common sense.
Yeah. But that's the thing. We've got two realities. People are living in two different realities now. You've got normal people, and you've got the cult. That's you've got two sides.
This is it. And this was, again, I was saying this to Dan yesterday. It's so hard to marry those up where you're trying to function in what most people consider the real world, you know, but innately, there's so much still wrong. It might look okay on BBC for a little bit now, but there's so much that there's 99.9% that we're not being told, so a lot of the people that think they've gone back to normal, they're okay living in that situation.
We've gone back to normal.
Just like, what's going on?
We've gone back to normal, so we lay off trying to actually jail these people.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and again, this is why people like Cressida Dix stepped down in this situation. That's why Matt Hancock went in that fake scandal as well. It's to step away from the accountability and being held
exactly.
But we've not gone back. The thing is, we've not gone back to normal. What's happened is, as always happens, the government have taken 3 steps towards their power play, and they've now taken 2 steps back. We've lost part of what we had before, even though we feel and it seems like we're getting everything back. We are not getting everything back. It just appears that way because of everything that was taken away from us. All they've got to do is give us a few fundamental things back, and we think we've got it all back, and we haven't.
They've done this over and over again over time, haven't they? They take away everything, and then they'll rent you back something, and you're still like, "Thank you so much, Master. Thank you so much." Yeah.
They took 100%. They gave us back about 25-30%, and people are taking that as a victory.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
For everyone in the comments and for the people on the show, do any of you still have to take tests? Are there any policies with your work about testing or anything like that? Or have they thrown them out the window as well? Does anyone have to take a test for work, or, NHS apps, scan it or anything?
I've never been put in a position. I faked one to try and go over to Ireland. I still didn't get the result back in time to actually go for what I needed to do. The NHS, I was going for my father's funeral. I didn't even do the test properly. I'll admit that. I just spat on it, right? So I wasn't completely faking it, but there was no way that was going in my body or up my nose.
Yeah.
But they still lost it, and I didn't get over in time.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I'm just not in a position where I've had to be. I'm lucky.
Yeah, I have to take them for work, and all I literally do is what the FWAB comes in, the little papery thing it comes in. I get that, put it into a little ball, spit in it, put the FWAB in it, and I do the test like that. I'll never put one of them sterilized with ethylene oxide. You think I'm putting that in my body? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? No way.
Well, I mean, there's the argument as well. A lot of people have said, I mean, you don't know who to believe because there's a lot of disinformation, that there's also the nanoparticles are actually on the thing itself, and they're putting that right up to your blood-brain barrier.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just people say this. I'm not saying this is true or not true, but
there is validity for that, because I've seen over 50 videos of people getting nosebleeds after doing these tests. Like a couple of days later, getting nosebleeds. Okay, that's not everyone, but everyone's anatomy and everyone's body is different, so things are affecting people in different ways.
Some people catch the cold and some people don't. They'll be in the same vicinity, right?
You got free. I don't know if anyone saw this. A little bit off topic, but I want to quickly bring this up because it's important. The BBC actually admitted that the bit of protein that they put in the RMNA vaccine is HIV.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
That came out 3 days ago. That came out 3 days ago. The BBC admitted.
From Team America. Do you remember? Everybody's got
AIDS. Yeah.
I was like playing that like 6 months ago, and I just can't believe, because I was doing it in the essence of everyone's got COVID. But it's actually come to the point where, wow, okay, there's a lot of preordained stuff, isn't there, and things like The Simpsons and these things, but that might be going a bit too.
You can't trust anyone. Yeah, but you can't trust any of these people. Just the level of dumbed down people are to take a vaccine that they know is an experiment just so they can go on holiday.
I know.
I've got no time for them people. I have no time for them.
No, that's where you lose faith in humanity. It's like, wow, the people are prepared to jab their child just to get 2 weeks on a beach somewhere. And that, for me, is unfathomable.
And you still have to, and at that time, you still have to fucking isolate as well. So you go for 2 weeks, you only get a week.
Yeah, exactly. It's
fucking sorry for going
on. You have to pay £2,000 on the way back. If you've got it on the way back, you have to pay another £2,000. What's wrong with these people?
So, anyway, Cressida Dix resigned.
That's what happens when you get 4 people on the panel.
She's so boring. She's such a boring old woman. Like, who wants to talk about her? No one cares about her. She's useless. No one cares about her. No one likes her. She looks like a cue ball in snooker. No one cares.
And this is the chance for people to let us know just how much they don't care in this particular live stream. I will be doing another live. I know. I will be doing a live stream on Sunday where we can talk about anything and we can go through this properly on Sunday. But I want to go. I want to get back to hello, Josie.
What really worries me with Cressida Dick resigning is who's going to take over.
That's the whole issue.
I'm going to get to that in just a second.
Exactly. All we're going to get is exactly the same thing back.
Sadiq Javid's brother, the cover-up merchant.
Yeah.
The one pulling the strings from behind the scenes.
It could be, but there's also two other alternatives that I know of. So I'm going to explain that in just a short while. Again, I don't want this to go on for too long, this particular live stream, but let me just go to the Express here. Cressida Dick resigns as Met Police Chief as Sadiq Khan says, "I'm not satisfied." I'm sure your wife says the same thing. So we have Dame Cressida announced she was stepping down in a shock statement just hours after insisting she had no intentions of going, which again to me suggests that something's happened behind the scenes, and I don't think it's got anything to do with Sadiq Khan. She says he has left me no choice but to step aside as Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Service. Again, this could be a political statement. Remember, as I said in my video yesterday, yesterday, is that no matter what she says, it has been carefully planned and written by a PR department. This is not from her. This is why every single police statement you will ever see them read, they read from a piece of paper, because they're not saying it themselves. They're reading what they've been told to say. Okay. So I think this is a political move. Perhaps, I mean, I don't know. Perhaps Pretty Useless Patel was turned around and said to her, "Listen, right, you've done well. You've made fucking loads of money. You know what I mean? You've got a name for yourself. We'll give you your pension. Say it was him that told you that you got to get out so that people vote him in next time. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe they want him to be voted in again. Maybe that's what this is about. Maybe that's why this is saying that he has left her no choice but to step aside. We don't know, but there's a possibility."
Whatever it is planned.
We need term limits for these people. We need term limits. That's what we need.
I agree. I think anybody in a position of any kind of power like this. Let me come back to you.
Especially in government.
Anybody that is in a position of power should only be allowed to serve a certain amount of time. Okay, I think that they should not be allowed to be voted in the following term. I think it has to be somebody else. I mean, I don't know much about politics, and I never hide that fact. But personally, I think that anybody in one of these positions, they do their term, they leave after the set amount of time, and then they're not allowed to put themselves forward for the next term. Yeah. There has to be somebody else.
There should also be a obligatory, just standard review process by a jury afterwards as well, to analyse how they did in that term, so that they know when they go in, they're going to be judged by the public on how they performed while they were there.
And it should be the public, like just random people. Like
jury. Yeah,
you get a day off work. Yeah, jury. You get a day off work. You come in, and we want you to, so we keep it as partisan as we can.
Yep.
We don't want no bias on the left or on the right. Usually it is the left, obviously, but either way, you don't want any bias, and you just want to have fair trials. But with the term limit thing you said, I do agree, but I also don't, because I feel like in some places, like where you have really good leadership, having one term could rock the boat. And if then the opposition gets in, they could then just all the good policies that they've put through, they could just reverse all of it. So there is that, and there is that. But I was also the thing that I was going to say was 100% transparency at election booths, because you don't have that, and voter ID as well. Because when I did my last election, I got one in a church at the end of my road. You just say, "What's your name? Where do you live?" There you go, do it. Boom. No ID, no nothing. So I could have just said a random name who I know lives on my road, and I could have voted for them.
Yeah, Bearded Veterans just said should have a similar system to the Yanks, where they do 4 years per term and can only do a maximum of 2 terms. Yeah. Personally, I think 4 years may be a bit long, in my own opinion.
In the UK, yeah, I'd agree with that.
Again, it's just my opinion based on what little I know of politics, but I think that again, I don't disagree with the maximum of 2 terms, but I don't think that they should be allowed to do concurrent terms. I don't think anybody should be allowed to do concurrent terms, not just as a politician, but in any of these positions of excess power, be it commissioner of the police, superintendent of the police, a politician, or a high-ranking civil servant, for example.
Dan, can I come in here, mate?
Yeah, of course.
There is one problem with only doing 4 years per term and all the rest of it. And what that is people want a flash in the pan. You know, something like, and a good example of this would be the NHS and the doctors.
Yeah.
We import doctors from all over the world, Africa, India, wherever, and they've already got their qualification. So our training to train up British doctors, people who went through British schooling, that have all of that, they want to become a doctor. Well, what's the point? Because you've only got 4 years. Why invest money into something like push through a whole load of new British doctors? Well, it doesn't happen. They don't invest in that. You know, Boris Johnson or any political or any politician knows that by the time these doctors get out of their training, they're already out of office. So what's the point investing in that? Why not just pull in another 200 doctors from around the world, from Africa or from South America or wherever? And therefore,
go on.
That 4 years, that idea of 4 years, or that idea of only having a set amount, what it does is it shortens everything to a quick flash in the pan, and then nothing else. It just stops then. And then the next person gets in and they try and make a big headline and say everything's going to be great, and then nothing else. And it keeps happening and it keeps happening. I don't know whether you remember Boris Johnson saying, oh, yeah, we'll come out of Europe and we'll have X amount of millions per week to pay for the NHS. And
365 million, he had it on the bus.
Yeah, he had it on the bus. Now, theoretically, that was correct. The problem was it wasn't correct because it wasn't going for British doctors. It was going for doctors brought in from all around the world. They won't invest in British people, in British future, because everybody wants it here and now, and they want it here and now because they want the vote, but they don't want it 4 years down the line or 6 years down the line.
Which is true. Let me just make it sort of thingy my position on that, clarify my position. It's not, I'm not saying that, or rather, I'm when I talk about people in these in positions of power, I'm not necessarily talking about doctors. I mean, doctors we need. They don't necessarily get the. I'm sorry, I'm going blurry, by the way, people. They don't necessarily get this narcissistic overtones to their position. People high up in the NHS, however, like running the NHS, running the hospital, these people, which at the moment running the NHS are Americans, if I'm not mistaken, they're Americans running the NHS, and they're from a corporate background. They're not from a hospital background. They're from a corporate background, and it's about making money. Which they need to make money. They need to have money to run, but it's the main focus of the NHS is on its patients. Okay. It's not on. It's not on about how much money they can make, and that unfortunately is what they're doing at the moment. Which, with having these American people in there. I was going to say something else. Then what was I going to say? Yeah. So when it comes to doctors, no issue with people like that. No issue with people that are in jobs that do really well and get really far within their job. It's once they get to the very top of the ladder, so to speak, that is when I think they're not working. Like doctors, for example, they're doing their doctoring shites for however many years, okay, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Then they get to a position where they can run a department, okay. That I don't necessarily think is too much of an issue, running a department in a hospital. But when they get in charge of the hospital, or when they get in charge of the NHS or something similar, it's at that point they seem to get this narcissistic over jacket, shall we say, that makes them forget about where they've come from and what they've done.
A lot of the time, they wouldn't have even been a doctor and gone through the ranks. They've come in literally just with a business. Look at Bill Gates, for instance.
I was about to say about Bill Gates. Yeah.
He's not medically trained in anything. He's never had that compassion. He's never even been there. And you get this all the time. What? You put your hand in my face. Shut up.
No, sorry. I'm trying. All right, stop now. I'm trying to get the focus back. That's all.
The thing you spoke about Bill Gates, but the worst one has got to be Tedros, in charge of the World Health Organization.
Yes,
he isn't even a doctor. He got an honorary doctorate from Nottingham University, I think it was. He isn't a doctor. He's a politician.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's absolute madness. When you've got a guy in charge of the World Health Organization, and he isn't even as such medically trained. He was a communist politician in I don't know, wherever in Africa. Absolute madness.
Microsoft wasn't even his idea. He stole it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then he was building viruses, which is ironic that he was building viruses. So then people had to buy antivirus for their computer when he was building the viruses.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, chronologically, it doesn't really work out, does it? When you put this all down on paper, it's a bit skew-whiff.
Yeah. Or the other one, or Klaus Schwab. What's Klaus Schwab's history in economics or business? He hasn't got any. He was just put there.
Yep.
Sajid Javid. We've got a health minister. We've got a health minister, Sajid Javid, who's an economist.
He's a failed businessman.
He isn't failed. He was earning, £3 million a year when he gave it all up to become a politician and took a 98% pay cut. If you're going to do that, they've got to be perks coming from somewhere else.
Yeah, the back of money. What I was going to say about the hospitals. The reason they all of a sudden change, like their morality changes, is because they're getting money through the back. And the reason they're getting it now is because they can actually change things. When you're a doctor, you can't change anything systemically. When you're running the hospital, you can change pretty much anything because you run the hospital. That's when they start to get the backhand money because you're in a position where you can be bought off.
Yeah.
Almost as like almost like in a smaller way, you could say with the doctors, they've been bought off in a way because they get £15 for every vaccine that they give.
Yeah.
So in theory, they've been paid off as well because they're encouraged with a commission to put a bioweapon into people.
That's pure fraud. That the Fraud Act,
100%.
I think section 3, I believe it is. They're abusing their position of power, and there's non-disclosure of the information. They don't even give out the inserts. You must have seen where people are asking pharmacists for the inserts, and they open the packet. They're not even in there.
They get kicked out. If you try and ask any normal level-headed question, you will be kicked out because how dare you question the people at the top? How dare you speak to us like that? You take your bioweapon, which you've paid for with your tax money, and you shut up. That's their attitude.
And this I've got to be honest is part of something that scares me with respect to the change in the Human Rights Act.
Oh yeah,
the Human Rights Act reform. There's a section on there that says this option would solve the problem by removing a qualification which cannot be read compatibly with the convention rights. The effect of this would be to allow any public authority lawfully acting, enforcing, or giving effect to provisions of or made under primary legislation in a way Parliament clearly intended to do so without attracting litigation. In other words, what they're trying to do is they're trying to say that local authorities can piss all over our rights if they do it in the name of the government, the main government, and they are exempt from prosecution if they fuck up. Ultimately.
They're asking for civil war. They're asking for a civil war. That's what they're asking. They're pretty much on their knees begging for the people to fight them, because that's the only thing I can see. Why else are you going to take away everyone's rights? You're asking for a civil war.
They've been expecting something like that for ages, which is why these new laws that about the online protection bill, and which means they can arrest anybody that says anything dissident against them. And they also have done the update to the Firearms Act, where you're not even allowed to have ornaments on your wall anymore. They've taken away everything that we have an ability to protect ourselves with, or that we could have an ability to protect ourselves with. I've got a wooden truncheon here. Okay, that ultimately is classed as a weapon. Okay, I could get into trouble for it. Good luck coming and getting it from me. But you'll end up walking away with it shoved up your arse, all 18 inches of it, if you try coming to take it off me. But this is what's happening. They're taking away every available resource that we have as human beings, as people, to be able to protect ourselves, because I think they know something's coming. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Maybe they want that to happen, though, because it puts us in a position where they feel entitled then to react to us reacting to them, if you know what I mean. Yeah. If we can't defend ourselves in the process, they've got the excuse then to come along, take us away and lock us up, stick us in a meat wagon, kick us in the face. And
I said before, it's communism. They're implementing communism. I said this like 2 weeks ago on your stream. I said they're slowly implementing communism and people aren't seeing it. This is what they do in China. China's communist. Like, it's not hard to connect simple dots to see what they're doing. Protests are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They tried to make protesting illegal because they're trying to silence people, which is fascism. You know? Like, it's not hard. It's not hard to see what they're doing here. Like, you have to be in the cult to think that what the government is doing is for the good of the people, when it's clearly not. And public opinion, there was that poll that Good Morning Britain did, and then they had to delete it because 98% of the people disagreed with Good Morning Britain, so they deleted their poll, and it was about going back to normal, and then they deleted it because they're losing. You know, look at Agenda 2030. Look at Agenda 2030. They're pushing this forward so quickly because people are waking up too quickly. So they're pushing it all forward, and that's what's waking more and more people up. And the more people wake up, the more rights they need to take away to stop you from pushing back on them bringing in a communist agenda.
YouTube removing the dislike button was quite poignant as well.
Everyone, that was not to help small.
No, not at all.
No,
it was big news stations were just getting obliterated.
Yeah, of course they were.
The main thing was Joe Biden, the White House.
Everything Biden spoke, couldn't it?
Yeah, they were deleting likes. Like, I've got screenshots. One time it's on 79,000 likes, and then it's on dislikes, and then it's on 18,000 dislikes. Where did all those dislikes go? YouTube deleted them.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's still not enough because there's too many of us. There is too many of us. Mm-hmm. They can't stop us. The more and more people that jump on and get in the fight, the quicker this ends. It's the quicker this ends.
Look, Kaylee and I were having a chat last night, weren't we, about things that could be done. And the problem that I see at the moment is there is, and I think Kaylee agrees, is that even though more people's eyes are opening, there is still not enough people willing to do something about it. There needs to be, they need to have an emotional response. Okay. Now, when I gave up, for example, if you need to give up drinking, or if you need to give up smoking, or if you need to give up drugs, the only way you can do that, really, although some people can normally, but most people need an emotional reason to stop. Okay. For example, having a heart attack. Okay, putting life in perspective. For example, I used to drink a lot, not an alcoholic, but I used to drink a lot, and I used to go out looking for fights because I had a big chip on my shoulder. I got arrested. I nearly got 18 months, and if I had, I would have missed my firstborn being born. That was enough for me to stop drinking for almost 10 years. Okay, the emotion is what makes people go, enough's enough. And at the moment, not enough people are getting that shock. It needs to be a short, sharp shock, and not enough people are getting that at the moment.
It's because we still have it easy here compared to other countries like Canada, Australia, Austria, Germany, Italy, France. They have it worse, and that's why you're seeing bigger uprisings. It's because people are being fucked over way, way worse than we are. People are getting taken from their homes. You either voluntarily go, or the police come and drag you out and charge you £5,000 to go to a concentration quarantine camp where you have to stay behind a white line with a mask on. And if you go in front of that white line for anything but laundry, you will be fined £5,000. That's the kind of emotional hit that people need to realize that every single far right conspiracy has been correct, and you are in a cuckoo land, and you need to wake the fuck up before you lose your country. And the situation for them will be even worse, because they'll then slowly realize that they were in the wrong, and most of the country is going to want them dead for putting them in this position. That's how I see it.
Right. Now, I want to go back to what we was talking about, and I want to. We're going to wrap this up shortly. Over the next 10 minutes, we're going to end up wrapping this up, so we don't have to talk about her for much longer. I just had to put a video out about her, so I decided to do it this way. Now, at the moment, we've got, generally speaking, the deputy commissioner would step up and take the position of commissioner. Now, that would be Baz Javid. Okay. However, there has been talk over the past at least 6 months that I know about, and I'm going to bring it up on the screen here. Give me 1 second. Boom and boom. Let me get rid of the comment that's on there as well. Right, so Priti Patel, and this, I found this out months ago. Okay, Priti Patel was looking for a new candidate to replace Cressida Dick, and this is from the 11th of February.
Oh no!
Sorry,
I just read it and I went, "Oh fucking no!"
So this is from the 11th of February 2022, and today is the 11th of February 2022. However, I saw this months and months ago. Okay, so she has been looking to Australia, okay, to bring an Australian police constable over to take the place of the Met Commissioner. Now, what worried me when I first saw this is I was seeing what the Australian police were doing to their people.
Exactly.
And that is far, far, far worse than what Cressida Dick has been doing.
Yeah, mate.
Okay. Now, Cressida Dick, obviously, as the reason she got given the job is because she's a box ticker. And she's part of a minority group, which, as I said in my video the other day, prevents her in a way from being booted out, because what would happen? Oh, they're being racist, not racist. They're being homophobic. They're doing it because of because I'm a rug muncher or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And it would cause all sorts of problems. So that's why I think she's not been got rid of before, and why I also think she got given the job in the first place, because the Metropolitan Police and the government have to look like they're inclusive. But when it comes to replacing her, we've got this, a potential Australian commissioner, and again we've seen exactly what the Australian police have been like over the past couple of years through many videos on YouTube. We also have this person. Does anybody know who this is? although it says it on there.
Never seen her in my life.
Superintendent Robin Williams. Okay, not the Robin Williams. Okay, this is Superintendent Robin Williams, who was sacked from the Metropolitan Police. She has got a very, very high-ranking position. She was sacked from the Metropolitan Police because she was found to be in possession of a child abuse video on her mobile phone. Now,
I remember her.
What allegedly happened is her sister's fella messaged her sister with this video, which then got messaged to this person, okay, Robin Williams, superintendent, and Robin Williams, superintendent, failed to make a complaint about the fact that she had been sent this video. Whether it was about her sister or not, we know that the police have a policy to shop your own granny if it gets you pushed up the fucking the ladder quicker. Okay, and she failed to do that. She failed to mention this child abuse video, which obviously leaves a potential child victim as well, okay, in danger. But she was sacked. She went to an appeal, and she ended up getting her job back. Now, this is another potential, in my opinion. This is another potential for the job of commissioner, simply because, number one, she's of a minority group. Okay, and number two, the police, she's already sued the police, okay, and got a job back. So the chances are the police will, or the Home Secretary will want to give it a bit of, oh look, we're terribly sorry about how we treated you. You know, please don't call us racist anymore if we give you the job as commissioner. So we have these three, in my opinion, three potentials: Baz Javid, Superintendent Robin Williams, and a potential Australian knuckle dragging fuckwit. And
aren't we?
It's true. We're fucked either way. We're fucked either way, man. Just everyone needs to just stop civil disobedience, man. Just don't fucking listen to them. Just tell them all to fuck off.
And be non-consent to everything. Where else? Even the rest of it. If we drain the entire swamp, who is going to step into all of those positions? Look at the caliber of people we've got that could potentially fill. You look at anybody that could even replace Boris. They're all surrounding in scandal. In scandal already.
Yeah.
Every single one is linked to a scandal.
Honestly, if we really did drain this swamp, I would be more than happy to fucking go into that cesspool and try and clean it up, just for the good of my country, and just to know that when I eventually have my own children, I know that I myself have helped to try and build the country back to being Great Britain, which is what we used to be. And, you know, I wouldn't ever want to work in government, but I feel like decent, honest, normal fucking people who work and pay taxes and just get on with normal life need to step up and grow a pair of balls, jump into these positions and sort this shit out. Because when normal, objective people go into these jobs and see what's going on, they're much more likely to do something about it, you know? And especially when you've been on, you know, these types of platforms and have these types of opinions, you're much less likely to take money from people. Like if someone offered me money to do like what they do, I would expose that guy. I would expose him. Yeah. I would expose him that this motherfucker tried to bribe me.
So you'd make more money. You'd make more money doing that as well. I don't doubt.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, I get that, but it's not about that. It's about.
No, I understand.
I get what you mean. I'm just trying to say for me, it's about showing the people, one, about building the country back up, but also showing people how corrupt the government and the big tech oligarchs and all of the finger puppets at the top, how crazy, sick and evil these people are, where they want to buy you. They want to buy you like you're some.
See, but that's why the whole thing has to go at once, doesn't it? Because one person like us, it's an impenetrable system at the moment until it all goes down.
It needs to be drained, and then people need to come up all at once and join it. And
that's again why we need to be forward thinking with the actual solutions, because we've acknowledged the problems, we see what the problems are, but we also need to think ahead of ourselves. Okay, if we do get to that point where we can drain that swamp, what's the next step so there's not like chaos and anarchy? You know, like how do we get from here through that mess to still having some sort of cohesion going on?
Yeah. You know? Look, Oh, fucking hell, here we go again. I'll tip on my tongue and then it fucks off.
You've got like 3 screens in your face. You're forgiven. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's a lot to do.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. You know, we've got nobody else. If you get rid of Boris Johnson, who's going to take his place?
This is the
Sajid Javid, Priti Patel, any of the cabinet. They're no better than what we've already got.
Well,
there's probably one devil we know.
There's probably one MP who I do have some respect for, and that's Desmond. Sir Desmond.
Yes.
The old guy that actually speaks up against the vaccine mandates, and he's like the only person that I've seen who's tried to push back on this. And I still don't think he's done enough.
Is that the guy with white hair and glasses?
Yeah.
No, I don't know who you're talking about.
There's a video of him outside of the House of Parliament, and an old guy was being arrested. He was like 85 years old, and they grabbed him by his arms and legs and walked him into a bully van. And this guy was outside, like bollocking the police for it, and the police just ignored him, like he was just another one of us, a no one, a peasant. Yeah. And they just ignored him. But he was the only person that I've seen in Parliament or the House of Lords or anywhere who has actually tried to vocally stand up for the silent majority, which is us, and try and get our perspective aside. Apart from him, one person who hasn't even done enough for me, in my perspective, only one person out of every single one of them, only one person.
Are you talking about the same person that Josie was just talking about there?
I think so. I'm going to quickly.
He stood up and he gave that speech.
About
the miscarriages, didn't he? Not being noted.
Yeah.
About 7 or 8 months ago, I believe. But yeah, I know exactly who you mean. It's Desmond's. I can't remember the surname. But
I'm getting a picture of him up now. This guy. Don't know if you guys can see my screen, but
yeah.
That guy there. He was the one. He was also. I saw him in a video where they were arresting this old guy.
Yeah.
Grabbed him by his arms and legs, and he was bollocking the police, and the police just ignored him. But that I just wanted to put it into perspective that there's one person fighting our fight. One. Out of all of the elected representatives, there's one person who is on our side. One. Everyone else is against us, fighting against us and voting against us. That's just how fucked we really are, and people don't seem to understand how serious this really is. You know, we're at what 6% inflation now, 5.5% inflation, and it's still going to rise.
Let's remember that it's not necessarily, like I've said this for years. It's not about the cost of things going up. It's about the value of money going down.
That's why I talk about inflation, because inflation is just going to make your money worse. It's just,
on top of that as well, like everything is going against us. Even when people look at it normally and they think, oh, right, my gas is going up, or the food's going up, they're not taking all of the things into the equation, are they? They're not taking, like you say, the value of money itself is going down, the cost of living is going up, the cost of property is going up, the amount of people in the country is going up.
Yep.
You know, it is a sorry state of affairs.
It's depressing when you understand even a small amount of what's going on in front of us and behind the scenes. It's really depressing to when you see the full picture, and you're just on the train going to work, and I'm on the train going to work. I'm just seeing like most of these people with their faces covered, and it's like, it's so sad. Like it's not even mandated anymore, and people are still wearing them because they've been indoctrinated that bad.
Yeah, and too many people have. It's the fear porn. The fear porn has been non-stop, 24/7 for almost 24 months, and even now, I posted earlier about some fucking what's the disease that they're saying about now? Let me have a look.
I know what you're talking about.
I can't even remember.
I think is it. I can't. There's so much crap, isn't there, to take in? It's difficult to retain everything now.
Dan.
Hello.
The Lassa fever. It's the Lassa fever.
See the Spanish flu.
Lassa fever.
Spanish flu hit in about 1917, went on to about 1920, 21. Around the world, 50 million people died. Now, the population was a lot smaller then. 50 million people died. We've had about 8.5% of what was killed in Britain. 8.5% of what was killed in Britain, 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 of what was killed in Britain in the Spanish flu 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Which means 92%, roughly 92% fewer deaths than the Spanish flu.
It was
through this COVID.
There was a freedom of
It's
information.
absolute madness, and yet the whole country just stopped. Everybody get inside, shut the doors, shut the windows, and don't let anyone in.
Don't you think the most basic logical question would be if the cure has a lower survival rate than the disease itself? That's where really we should be starting to ask questions, you know.
But it's being suppressed. It's being suppressed.
According to the Yellow Card scheme, which is the government's own data
website,
and only probably about 10% of people are even reporting it, because doctors are actually encouraged to not report anything as an adverse side of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is what popped up on my feed earlier, and I had to share it because it's an absolute fucking joke. Okay, look at the fear porn over COVID has gone. Okay, they can't continue with that anymore because they know they've been found out. Now, again, I need to, I don't want to go into COVID too much on here, but I just want to point out this whole fear that they're doing. England records its first ever Lassa fever death. First ever. Okay, that alone is going to make people go, oh shit. Hospitalised patient in Bedfordshire succumbs to eye-bleeding virus. I mean, visually, that is now going to put fear in you, a visual attack, okay, on, fear. Becoming the third member of a family to test positive following a trip to West Africa. Now, what I found most interesting about this is that image. What have we been seeing for the last 24 months? We've been seeing an image just like that.
Yeah.
Okay, just like that, saying it's deadly, it's dangerous. We've got to be locked down. We've got to have this right taken away. We've got to have that right taken away. And now they're using this particular image, which is almost identical to the one they've been using over the past 2 years.
To get to the subject. Have you seen
fear porn?
Have you seen the opening ceremony to the 2020?
The hospital with the doctors, with the witch with the wand, giving everyone COVID. Yeah, that, and
the kids
Bill
in the
Gates,
hospital beds and all of the mad dancing that all the NHS staff were doing.
Subliminal messaging.
And it was the 1992 one as well. I can't remember where it was. It had all the same things. It had the spike protein. It had the virus as well. The same image. I mean, have you heard of David Bowie's game called Omicron from 1999, same year The Matrix came out? Go and listen to some of that. These things don't happen by coincidence.
Bill Gates said a couple of months ago that there would be another virus, so I was expecting this, honestly.
He's been saying it for years before we
Bill, a couple of months ago, like with COVID, he said there will be another virus. So as soon as he said that, I went, oh, brilliant, cool, just buckle up, wait a couple of months. COVID started to die, and I went, yeah, cool, give it a few months, there's going to be a new virus. And bang, here you go. It's so easy to predict now. It's so easy.
Yeah, they've been saying it for
it's so
years.
easy.
The patent for the vaccines.
3 years. 3 years before COVID.
2016.
Yeah.
And also, the PCR tests had been distributed around the world in 2017, 18.
Yeah, they had it all ready. They had it all. Agenda 2030. It's all written. It's all been written. Klaus Schwab's done a book on it. It's the evidence is all there. All there for you to read.
You two are very defiant, aren't you?
Sorry.
I like her. I need to talk to this lady more. We're having a nice. I just like people with their heads screwed on. That's all. I like people that can see the truth and aren't in the cult.
Right. Guys, we're gonna run this for 10 more minutes, okay, and then I'm gonna call it a night because I don't want this to be too long because I want people to come and watch this. But Henry Crinkle, if you know who that is, he's sitting in the back room at the moment. I want to bring him in for a moment because I've got something I need to say.
Fuck off, Crinkle.
I've got something I need to say to him myself, but I want to bring him in and see what he's got to say for a couple of minutes.
Let's
and
mute
see
up
what,
and let them have a chat.
See what you guys think, okay? So,
yo,
Crinkle.
Dan, first of all, I'm trying to contribute to your chat, but one of your mods is seemingly abusing her powers and timing me out, like really childish. The one who's called
Fuck off, Crinkle.
That Girl, Lost Soul Paranormal. Sort your life
You
out.
know,
Yeah,
Crinkle,
fuck off, Crinkle.
Crinkle. You're gonna have to make a complaint to the IOPC, the Independent Office of the Independent Office of PAP Conduct.
Well, look, you know, you hang on. You go on about people abusing powers, like a little stupid admin is abusing her powers. Sorry,
then stop talking shit. Stop being a troll. You know, stop being a troll. Then.
What do you mean? I'm not being a troll. Well,
I've been reading your comments. You're a troll. You were in here last week being a troll as well.
Hang on, wait. I said I was commenting on what Kaylee was saying. Actually,
last week you were being a troll as well.
Because it disagrees with your narrative, then I get blocked by an admin who's trigger happy. You know what I mean?
Needs to say.
Mate, I'd love to debate you. I'd love to debate you. I'd love to do an hour.
All right, let's see what right, come on, Crinkle, what you got to say? Come on.
You're just spouting the same old nonsense. Like,
so what's your opinion? Say your opinion. No, everyone's quiet. What's your opinion? Come on, let's go. We've only got 10 minutes.
Well, on the virus.
No one questioned the dick.
Way, Dan,
on dick.
Well, Dan,
I want to know. I want to know what your opinion is on dick.
Dan. Well, I'm not really bothered, but you know that picture you were showing from the Daily Mail, pretty much all viruses look, you know, almost similar.
Yes.
To that. So
yeah. So why do they need to show a massive picture on their page, okay, of a virus when, as you say, pretty much all viruses look the same? What is the point of showing that picture on their page if it isn't to remind people of what we've just been through for some reason?
Well, it's just a depiction of a virus. I mean, if they're
medically untrained eyes, they're taking that in and associating it with one thing.
Well,
right? Not everybody knows. Not everybody's trained in medicine. Not everybody knows that's what
don't
most
have to be trained in medicine.
But what it does subliminally to somebody, that's a different thing, isn't it?
Hang on a minute. It's a story about a viral disease. There's no harm in putting...
When have you seen that about the cold? When have you seen that about the flu? When have you seen that about any other disease?
Lots of times.
HIV.
Actually. Lots of times. Whenever there's a story, you know, about a viral disease, they usually show a picture of a virus or a depiction of one.
They're talking. Listen,
sorry, guys.
Listen,
come on.
Listen. They're talking about a virus that makes you bleed from the eyes. Why haven't they shown a picture of somebody bleeding from the eyes? That's an impactful picture, far more than a virus.
I don't know. And this nonsense that Kaylee's saying, right?
Excuse me.
Well, it is
rude.
Well, hang on. It's nonsense to say. It's nonsense to say the cure of this virus, right, kills more people than the virus itself.
It's been proven.
It's been proven.
Proven by who?
There was a Freedom of Information request done. Only 15,000 people have died from COVID.
Well, this is
more people have died from the vaccine, buddy. Wake up. Wakey.
Hang on, this is where you're sadly mistaken, right? I know the figure you're talking about is actually 17,000 and something, right? Those people, the people who released that figure is the Office of National Statistics, right?
Yeah.
Right. If you go onto their website, they will show you that 17,000 figure is only the people who did not have an underlying issue, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Number,
yeah. So the rest of the 130,000 excess deaths, people died with an underlying issue. You know what the major underlying issue is?
Obesity.
No, it's not. It's diabetes. Do you know what the second major underlying issue is?
Go on.
It's lung diseases, like things like COPD, and the list goes down. All of those diseases, right? And this can be, you know, you can ask your GP this. It's so simple. All of those major underlying diseases, right?
Let him talk.
Those underlying diseases, you would be expected to live for decades. Yeah, people don't just drop down with diabetes and die. some people do, but not in the numbers that we've seen. So they've got. Hang on. If they didn't get COVID, they wouldn't have died. Right. To disingenuously say that only 15,000 people have died from COVID, you're talking rubbish. This is medical misinformation. This is misinformation.
It's the same with the flu, you idiot. It's the exact same with the flu.
Hang on. It disappeared for a whole year.
Well, look, hang on a minute. Since COVID started, right, there's been 130,000 excess deaths over the 5-year average, right? How do you explain them? And you know,
one of them is putting people on ventilators and blowing their lungs out.
Suicide.
Putting them on the same drug. Putting them on the same drug that they use in the lethal injection. That one I can never say it, beginning with M.
Not even that. What about putting people on ventilators and blowing their lungs out, which was exposed about a year ago?
Yeah.
Right.
They were putting people who had perfectly good lungs on ventilators, blowing their lungs out.
By the guy that invented the bloody test in the first place. People are testing oranges and coming up positive. They're putting
the Kenyan Prime Minister did that.
Hang on a minute. Look, you know, when you do one thing at a time, right?
You brought up 4 things. We're addressing all 4, mate.
Wait a minute.
If you bring up 4 things, we're addressing them.
Let's have a peer review. Who thinks Crinkle should fuck off?
Right. Okay, so let me say this. Let me say, after I tell you this, right, the Office of National Statistics, where you're getting your figure from, right, this 17,000
who died just from COVID. They died just from COVID. Nothing else. They died from COVID. Yes.
Yeah, yes. They died without any underlying issue. Basically,
yes.
That's what they're saying, right? So,
did you know that the average life is higher?
No, let me finish.
People are dying younger.
Let me finish, please.
Let me finish.
Along with that 17,000 people, which those people didn't have an underlying issue, they also released, along with that figure, right, some other figures, which are the people who died with underlying issues, such as diabetes, certain lung diseases, you know, obesity and all the rest of it. Are you ignoring those figures, which actually make up the rest of the 130,000, or are you still going to stick to this 17,000 figure?
Honestly, I think the number's even lower. I don't trust any of their figures. There was a builder that fell off his ladder on a house and he died of COVID.
Well,
I don't trust the figures.
Right?
I do not trust the figures.
Just use your brain, just for a moment.
I'm using my brain more than you, mate. I'm guessing you've got all your boosters. Have you got all your factors? Have you got all your factors?
Thinking, Crinkle.
I bet you've got a mask on as well. I bet you're in your room on your own with a mask on.
Hang on a minute. Wait a minute. Right. Hang on a minute. Right. The official COVID death figure, right?
Oh, the official.
It is something like 170,000 now.
172,000.
Right. Okay. Right. The excess deaths in this country since COVID began is 130,000. So there's a discrepancy there. So, you know, you could say that discrepancy are COVID deaths. Dan, come on, man.
What? Sorry, my finger slipped.
So there's a 40,000 discrepancy already. So I'll give you those and say maybe these are the ones where it's been marked down like road traffic victims or whatever, right? That haven't died of anything to do with COVID. Now you still have to explain the 130,000 excess deaths, all of which can be accounted for by people with underlying issues who died with COVID. Things like diabetes.
That doesn't mean that COVID killed you, though. You don't know the individual person and what was going on with them.
No.
You can't just say that they must have died from COVID. You can't say they must have died from COVID.
On a death certificate, right? Even if you died without even if you died with no underlying issues, right, of COVID, that's not put down on your death certificate that you died of COVID, because COVID will have brought about something like acute respiratory distress in the lungs, right? So you're marked down that you died from a lung, like a type of pneumonia, right? And then they say COVID is the primary cause of this lung, condition that killed this person. Yeah. And if someone's got an underlying issue, that gets marked down as well. All of those underlying issue people, they died in the same way, brought about by COVID.
Isn't that the opposite argument to what you?
Absolute rubbish.
Exactly.
Absolute rubbish.
Sorry.
Suicide amongst men has gone up by 64%.
Exactly. Yeah.
64% suicide of men has gone up. Are they going to be COVID?
Right. Well. Tell me how many that is then. How many people is that?
Oh.
Well, I didn't count them.
Well, you can figure it out. I mean, if it's gone up by a certain percentage, all you have to do is find out what the number has been. Find out what the average. Hang on, wait a minute. All you have to do is find out what the average.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. Hang on, Crinkle. Let's work this out. Did Khan die of Dick, or did Khan die with Dick?
Oh, come on. Now you're being silly. It just shows me, right, that when you cannot win the argument, you resort to these sort of... Kaylee, I've got something for you, right? If you want to test yourself for COVID, right, you don't get the test strip and put it in an orange. You could get a false positive with a pregnancy test on all sorts of things.
Then why are we taking tests?
Hang on, what you do?
Wait.
No, look, don't butt in. What you do is
94%
a test, right, relies not only on the test, but on the person taking a swab from an appropriate place. So if you take a swab at the back of your throat where you're supposed to, and then put it through the test, and it's positive or negative, that is going to give you a good indication whether or not you've got the disease. If you stick it in a fucking pineapple and it comes up positive, it's a worthless.
But it proves that the tests aren't reliable.
Crinkle.
Hang on.
Crinkle.
It's a meaningless. Hang on. If you put any test in an orange, it's a meaningless result. It could be positive, negative. It could be anything.
The test is rubbish. 94%.
Hang on. Wait. No, it's not. It's not designed to test.
It's been admitted. No, they admitted it. 94% of them are inaccurate.
The guy that invented it, Crinkle, said that it's not fit for purpose. Literally, the guy.
No, he did not. No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
I've already shown the patent, right? From the original, patent for the PCR test.
Zipit.com. Right. Now, I'm ending this live stream in just a moment, but I want to let me thank Kaylee, Josie, Finn for jumping on. Thank you for jumping on, Crinkle, as well. But I want to finish. I want to finish this, Crinkle. I don't want to talk about. Hang on a sec. I need to fart. I don't.
Peer review.
I don't.
Peer review.
I don't.
Can I just say,
hang on? No, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't.
Just want to say one
No.
thing.
I want to say one thing.
It's Pab's channel. It's Pab's channel.
Right. Crinkle. I want to get off the subject of mums because I just got off of yours. Boom. No. Seriously though. I want to get off the subject of viruses. What I want to ask you, because you mentioned a minute ago about appropriate. You said the word appropriate. What inappropriate stuff have you been doing on your channel lately?
Oh, well, what I do on my channel is for very good reasons. And what happened on my channel the other day was actually very, it worked out as I intended, because we sparked off a great debate about censorship on YouTube and in general, and freedom of speech, which was what it was designed to do, what I set out. So yeah, I came back yesterday and did a 22-hour stream, and it was the busiest. It was the busiest I've ever had it, and we had a great discussion about freedom of speech, censorship. Like people like, what I've met on these panels complain to the cows come home about how YouTube are censoring their live streams because of medical misinformation, because of that. Yeah. And as soon as I do something that they don't like, then they want me censored. So they're against censorship. Hang on. So they're against. Wait a minute. So they're against censorship.
Talking at your ass.
What?
You're talking at your ass. Who asked for you to be censored?
Well, all the people who were in the chat the other day in my live stream.
So what was it? What was it? Now I've
asked you to be censored. Don't be tarnishing everyone with one brush.
Well, not you, because you weren't there.
Go and get your booster. Go and get your booster. Off you go. Go get your booster.
See, now you're just being childish. You know what I mean?
Let me ask. Right.
People censored.
What I want to say is, everyone on these panels that I've met, right, that complain about being censored, like the guys in the chat, that 1984 TV, Bastion, UPAP, Civil, all them people, it's those, all the people that, are complaining that were in the chat at the time, that it's like they support censorship when it suits them. But when it doesn't suit them, they're really, you either support freedom of speech, you either uphold someone's right to offend you, or you don't.
I asked to debate you. I've asked to debate you.
I don't want to
debate you one-on-one. You're more than welcome to have your free speech.
Are you honestly saying that I try and censor you?
No.
By letting you on the channel. By letting you on the channel, you're censoring him. That makes sense.
The people I'm talking about are the ones that were in my live stream. Not yesterday, but the day before.
Pretty much. When I think that's quite opposite from the truth. Most people that speak out are quite happy to have the debate with people like yourselves.
Well, no, it's not about the virus thing. It's about what happened on my live stream. I think Dan sort of understands. I showed a video that people got offended by, right? That's what I set out to do. I wanted to play something that I knew would upset some people, right? And would want my channel or my live stream shut down, and they would support YouTube taking it off.
What exactly was it?
Just to show the contradiction in people's behavior when they talk about anything, yeah. It's all right when it suits them, censorship, but when it doesn't, they're the first ones to cry about it. You know what I mean?
Right. What was it? What was it exactly that you showed on your channel? I've heard from different people, but I want to hear from the horse's mouth. What was it?
It was a video depicting cartel members being, bad to one another, pretty much.
Giving them a Colombian necktie.
Well, it was like quite a gory video, but it was involving Mexican cartel members on each other. So that
can be really upsetting to certain people, especially if they've suffered trauma of their own. That's different to having your own. It's not talking about it, is it? If you're actually showing the imagery of that, some people.
This is where it went. People, wanted it censored, but I said, look, I showed a video, right? But I didn't remove the ability of you to close your eyes or press that leave button. But
it's not just the people that are watching. YouTube's algorithms. YouTube is a very sophisticated platform, and it can spot stuff, right? It knows if you're sharing stuff that it's banned before. It's got it in its fucking computer brain somewhere, and it looks for that shit. So it's not necessarily people that have watched your stream that got it closed down or whatever. Okay,
I know that YouTube may have, noticed something and shut it down. That's not the point. The point is the people the next day who all came back into my next stream, to complain to me, why did you do this? Why did you do that? And I
Well,
said,
maybe they were upset.
I said, like, that all of these people, all of you lot that are complaining, I said to them, you must have been the ones that hung around to watch the
Crinkle, that's
Black
completely
video.
different to discussing the issue. Discussing the issue is completely different to showing the gore. Somebody might have a child in the background in their home. You know, there are certain things that aren't appropriate to be shared. It's not a discussion that's the problem.
Well, hang on. I did give people the opportunity. I stopped the video. I paused
Sounds like you were baiting because you wanted to have this argument. To be honest,
Imagine if I was doing one of my reports about a copper, right, and I got hold of the video that he'd taken of a child, for example, okay, and when I do my reports, I don't really sugarcoat what I say, okay. So I can, I say it as it is. Now, imagine if I said it as it is and goes, oh, just for reference, I'm going to show you the picture that the copper was tossing off over. And I put the image up on the screen, or I put the video on the screen. Okay. Do you think I should be shut down for doing that? Or do you think I should have an argument for free speech and freedom of expression?
Well, look,
shut down.
No, hang on. I would support your right to show whatever the hell you want on your channel, right? I want to be. Hang on.
Anything goes then.
Wait a minute.
You've just destroyed your own argument, mate. You've just imploded your own argument.
Hang on. I will support your right to show whatever the hell you want on your video.
That's not free speech. That's actually.
Well, look, you butting into me is not giving me free speech.
To be fair, mate, you've got to let me finish a sentence.
I'm responding to Dan. You haven't even let me finish my sentence. Right?
You've been talking the whole time you've come on.
You've been talking You've been talking the whole time. We were all silent for 10 minutes.
Well, you addressed me about 5 minutes ago.
Hang on, I'm responding to Dan. I'm responding to Dan. Look, Dan,
Go on.
I would support your right to show whatever the hell you want on your channel, and your right to offend me, right? But I know that I am the one who should choose whether or not to watch any of that stuff.
That's bullshit.
Right.
That's what freedom of speech. Wait, that's what freedom of speech is.
No, freedom of showing things that are absolutely deplorable is not speech.
So what? So people should be allowed to share child porn then?
Wait a minute.
Exactly.
They should
have the freedom to
porn and discussing child porn to get over child porn.
No, hang on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Because, and I got a lot of support by people. I got a lot of support by people, and here's the argument they were, putting forward, and I agree with it. It's once you give somebody else the power to decide what you can and can't watch, where does it stop? You either just say, look, free speech for everybody, and let people decide what they do and don't want.
And people decide that child porn is wrong. Child porn is wrong. And no one should be allowed to post it.
For good reason.
Hang on a minute. Look.
Hang on. Me. All right. Go on, then. You got the stage again.
Well, go on. Then you speak, and then I'll.
Go on. Okay, fine. You're pretty much trying to say that. Well, not even pretty much. You are saying that you support freedom of speech no matter what. If somebody wants to post child porn, they should be allowed to do it. If you don't want to watch it, then don't watch it. Yeah, you're trying to compare that to political views.
Hang on a minute. Oh,
you're comparing apples and you're comparing apples and a fucking spaceship, mate. Not even apples and oranges.
Let me respond, right? Obviously, I do not support child abusing children in any type of way, right? And I would be disgusted by it. But I'm not going to try to curtail anybody's right to do whatever they want on their channel. I would report it if somebody, but once you go down that road, right, where does it stop?
Mate, there's a difference between saying something and showing something. There's a difference between showing something and when Pap reports about, like what Pap just said about an officer having child porn. There's a difference between Pap reporting on what happened and then Pap showing the video of the child porn. There's a complete and utter difference. I support Pap's his right to be able to talk about the issue, as it's public information. They're public servants. They work for us. He has a right to talk about what's gone on. Pap doesn't have the right, and I do not support Pap if he was to post the video of what happened. There's two different things, mate. There's two different things.
So hang on. Are you happy with giving somebody else, right, the power to decide what you cannot and can and cannot watch?
It depends where you're doing it. If you're doing it in your own private capacity, then do what you like. You know, it's up to you. But if you're doing it in front of other people, where potentially they might have children, or they may be triggered themselves by visually seeing something, it's a completely different ballgame.
So who should get that power? Who should get that power? The government, the police?
Me.
Who should
fucking
decide?
me. I should have that fucking power. Me.
Hang on. Wait a minute, Dan, because here's an important point, right? Because we know out in the world, right, this sort of stuff exists, right? You know, and I wish it didn't exist. It's going to be out, it's out there, right? But, you know, it's down to us to decide what we do want to watch and don't want to watch. Yeah,
right.
I obviously don't want to watch that kind of shit. We know it exists out there, but, you know, once you start taking away people's freedom like that, who are you going to let decide this stuff? And, you know, obviously we don't like child porn and all the rest of it.
Crinkle, it's called legislation. It goes through the House of Commons, goes through the House of Lords. It's called democracy and it's called legislation.
Right. Okay. So what about gore? Is it okay for gore to be shown by anyone? Does it remove your ability to close your eyes? This is what I'm saying.
Honestly, if you want to post gore, if you can find a website that is specifically for gore, you have to prove that you're over 18. I have no problem with that for gore.
Right. So
I've got no problem because people know what they're going into. When you've got YouTube, which is something where you've got YouTube for kids, YouTube is for everything. People post everything on YouTube.
Right. You know, the stream.
So that's the difference. You're talking about apples and oranges here. You're digging yourself a hole here.
Hang on. Peer review. Hang on.
Right.
Look, the stream was for over 18s as well. Everyone in there was an adult, right? So
how do you know?
It's on YouTube.
How do you know?
On YouTube, bro.
Did you warn them?
Yeah,
can I just?
Did you check?
I did. I gave them a few seconds, right?
To send you their ID.
Did you give 7-year-old going to listen to a warning?
Hang on a minute.
Did you give them a few seconds to send you their ID to prove they was overage?
It's their problem if they're going into adult websites.
Yeah, right. Okay. So is it a child's problem? Okay. So is it a child's problem? Is it a 15-year-old's problem if she lies to get into a nightclub and then gets raped?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's her own fault.
Yeah. You just literally just said yeah.
Right. Okay. All right, guys. No. Right. Hold it there for 1 second. Right. Crinkle, you said I've got two more things to say to Crinkle, but then we're going to end this stream. Crinkle, you said a few times over the past few months that that rights can be curtailed under certain situations. Okay. You've said that yourself on my live streams. You've said about rights being limited and being curtailed to, by the government for certain reasons. You've actually approved of that happening. Okay. Now you're saying that rights shouldn't be approved. Shouldn't be, no rights should be approved. When it comes to freedom of speech, for example, when it's not a qualified right. Okay, it's a right that you're given to use responsibly. Okay, that's the first thing. Secondly, talking of freedom of speech, I know freedom of speech allows you to say what you want to people, but let me ask you a question. What have you been saying to one woman vigilante? Hello.
Oh, asking her if she wants to go out and meet up.
Right. This is a person who's phoned up, who's clearly vulnerable, who you can tell from her videos is clearly vulnerable, and you have been chatting her up.
Well, you could say that. There's nothing wrong with that, is there?
What? Yeah, there is. What are you fucking Metropolitan Police? You cunt.
Well, hang on.
No, fucking hang on. The girl is fucking vulnerable, blatantly vulnerable. You do not take fuck off. No, you be nice to her by talking on YouTube.
Hang on. Is there anything wrong with inviting someone out for a cup of coffee, saying, I was telling her she's quite interesting, and, you know, maybe...
Yeah, if you're the sort of person that's just going to pull out some visual fucking gore, there's probably something a bit wrong with that. If she's vulnerable.
Hang on. No. Is there anything wrong with trying to strike up a romantic relationship?
Yes, with someone that's vulnerable. Yes, there fucking is, Crinkle.
Well, no, the whole point
Yes, there is. A civilized society protect their vulnerable. They don't prey on their vulnerable.
Crinkle,
that fucking makes me mad, Crinkle.
Crinkle. Why are you calling her vulnerable?
Because I've heard her speak. I've watched what she said in the past. Now, if you want to do that, mate,
so
come and speak to me about it.
Well, hang on. If she's depressed or whatever, that doesn't
what? So you're going to prey on a girl who's depressed? You're going to prey on a girl who's got lots and lots of hurt and pain.
Hang on a minute. Wait a minute. You can be depressed and still function as a human being and tell someone.
Hang
on. She's gone through absolute hell. She's gone through hell. And you have come along and preyed on her. You're a predator. That's disgusting, Crinkle.
If she's in trouble, you should be advising her as a nice man. You should be looking at her romantically. You should be taking her along and pointing her in the direction of help for her issues, not taking advantage of the situation. That's fucked up.
Do you know what? Somebody like that, right? I was on the phone to her for 4 hours the other night. Okay.
Hang on a minute.
No. You hang on a minute. You hang on a minute. I was on the phone for 4 hours. No. You fucking hang on.
You hang on.
No.
Crinkle, right. This is Pap's channel. Show some respect, yeah? This is Pap's channel. Show some respect.
The woman needs to figure out where the...
Right, Crinkle, listen to me.
Hang
on. Fucking listen.
No, hang on. Shut up and listen.
I said, listen to me. Okay, I was on the phone to that girl for 4 hours the other night. Okay, I'm not going to go into what we was talking about. Okay, but she is a vulnerable person. Now, if she'd have turned around to me, okay, I mean, she's, you know, don't get me wrong. I've had people say to me in the past when I've been the person to shoulder to cry on, when they've gone to me, do you know what? You're so lovely, blah blah blah. Do you want to have a drink? Because of some, I can hear feedback. I can hear some feedback quite seriously there.
I think it's from Finn.
Sorry.
So I've had people say to me, look, you know, you're fucking special, you're lovely, you know, let's go for a drink, let's meet up. I would never even consider it, even though it was their idea, because of the position that they're in. Okay, I wouldn't even consider it, even if I felt that they was better afterwards, because that is not the kind of thing that is not the kind of thing that no. Listen, that is not the kind of thing that a normal person does. Now, I heard that the other day. Okay, I heard about that the other day from her. She actually told me that she had to block you. Okay, and if you're watching, if you're watching One Woman Vigilante, I apologise. I don't mean to embarrass you or anything like that.
Well, that's all it took, isn't it? For somebody who doesn't want someone talking to them, all they have to
they don't want them hitting on them, Crinkle. It's a big difference.
Well, hang on.
Show some respect.
Well,
grow a pair.
Wait a minute. I thought it might, you know, make her smile or cheer her up. But if somebody doesn't want to hear what somebody else says, there's a block button for a reason.
Yeah, but you know what? Unfortunately, you have to listen to them. No. My channel, my channel. There is a difference between blocking somebody. Okay, sorry. You have to listen to somebody first before you block them. Okay. Therefore, it's too late once you've said what you've said.
Look. Being depressed does not remove your ability to, you know, reply to people, tell them, you're not interested or whatever. Or,
yes, it can. Yes, it can.
Yes, it can.
Well, I don't fucking know her, do I? Like in that way.
You don't need to know her in that way. You just
crack on to her.
I don't know if she's vulnerable or not. I didn't know, did I? So what?
That's a predator thing. You don't do that shit.
Are you telling me because she's depressed, she's got the intellect of a child?
Fuck off,
No,
Crinkle.
I'm saying because she's gone through crap, the last thing she needs is crap from Crinkle.
That guy's off his head.
Right, I've kicked him. Right, listen, Crinkle, I know you're probably still watching, right? And fair enough to you. Let me just add Roger to the stream quickly. Sorry, Roger, I didn't see you there.
Right, can you hear me?
Yeah. Listen.
Lovely
right,
to see you, Roger.
Nice to see and hear you, Josie.
It's good, mate. It's good.
There is a huge difference. Okay, once you've said what you've got to say to somebody, okay, it's too late at that point. Okay, you've said it.
Line, mate.
You can't take it back. Same as me. I say stuff. Okay, I might say stuff that upsets people. Well, I will then have to either up with the fact that they unsubscribe for me. There are consequences for what's said. Okay. No, you're not coming back in, Crinkle. Fuck off. This is a vulnerable person. Okay, this is somebody who quite easily could look at somebody's somebody being nice and take it the wrong way. And it's quite easy for somebody to be nice to somebody with an ulterior motive. I'm not suggesting that that's what's happened here. Okay. I'm not suggesting it's not either, but it is very easy for that to happen for somebody that's in a vulnerable position. They see somebody being nice to them. They think the whole world's fucking against them and somebody is suddenly being nice to them. So they tend to gravitate towards that person for something nice in their life. Okay, that is how people prey on other people. Okay, and to be honest, I've given the opportunity to say what you've had to say. Yes, I've kicked you out now because of what you've ended up saying. And as I say, things we say have consequences. All right. I was fucking fuming, to be honest, when One Woman Vigilante told me this the other day.
Hayley.
And I've not been able to talk to you since I found out.
There, Josie.
Love you, psychos, missus. Lovely to see you.
Look, I mean, I'm literally going to give this 5 more minutes. I'm going to have to call it a day. I didn't see you in the comments, Roger. In the back room there, Roger. So my apologies.
That's right, mate. I've been trying to figure out how to work the bloody thing.
But we got 5 minutes. We've got 5 minutes to talk. And
but listen, Dan. Yeah,
go on, mate.
I'm a great believer. You know, a civilized society protects their vulnerable. They protect their young children. They protect their elderly. Now, I'm not some, gallant man that runs around trying to protect everyone. I just think it's up to a person, each individual person, to protect. You don't go to somebody who's going through a bad time, who's gone through absolute hell, who's caused, just pain and anguish, and then crack onto them. Come on, let's go out for a drink. Everything will be fine. That's just fucking predatory. That's just nasty.
Yeah,
I'm angry about it.
Lucy. I'll agree with that. That them sort of values are gone. They're not
absolutely. A good example is Holly. I mean, I love Holly to bits. I've known her for over 2 years. She's absolutely brilliant. She's good fun. She's a laugh. I love her to bits, and I tell her that. But if she was sore, if she was in pain, if she was depressed, if she was a bit like going through the crap that One Woman Vigilante has been through, there's no way that I'd say the stuff that I say to her. There's no way on God's earth that I'd do that, because it would hurt her. It would cause her more pain. And people shouldn't do that to one another. We should respect one another. We should give time and effort and energy to one another. That's what a civilized society is about. Hey, Smudge, how are you, mate?
I was just going to say, hey, Smudge.
Hello. Hang on, right? MDV's one as well.
That's okay.
I don't know.
Just 1 second. MDV's just said, "Why am I the gatekeeper for another person's emotions?" Listen, MDV's. It's not about being a gatekeeper for another person's emotions. Okay, Roger can handle himself. Josie can handle himself. Kaylee can handle herself. Finn can handle himself. If any of these were in a position to be depressed and down and vulnerable, most importantly, okay, I would look after them as well. If somebody said something that upset them, okay, she was upset. She is a vulnerable woman going through a very hard time at the moment. I am doing my best to help her, as are other people in the community. I am doing my best to help her. 4 hours on the phone to her the other night, and it.
But Dan, we hold the same values. We hold the same culture. We hold the same attitude towards life. Exactly. That's why each and every one of us sitting in here absolutely hates abuse of power. We hate corruption because it's insipid. It gets into everything. You know, the police, if they're doing their dirty shit that they do, they've got to be called out for it and said, enough of that. Be a man. Be a person that your parents want you to be.
And as soon as they get the power, they seem to get drunk on it.
Go on, Kaylee.
So, yeah, if I could just say, just from a woman's perspective as well, what it also does, people like that will leave a fear and a paranoia in her mind about them people like Dan that are coming to actually help. You know, if she figures out that somebody's being predatory towards her and paying her attention and ends up being predatory, then in the back of her mind, she's then going to question other men that are being genuine and do want to protect her.
Yeah.
It's very damaging.
That's a very That's a very
It's toxic. Point. It's nasty. There's nothing nice about it. Now, I didn't want to say a lot tonight, you know, but really, it's got me mad because that's not the people in this community. You know, I have a laugh with Lucifer. I have a laugh with most people in the community because we hold the same values. We hold the same attitude to life. And see when something nasty, something wrong, something rotten gets into it. It just gets into every part of it, and it just leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Where you sit there and say, you know, I can't speak to that person like that because that person might feel that.
Go on, Finn.
Yeah, it just goes. It's sick. It's not right. There's right and wrong in this world, and that is not right.
Can you see that message on the screen?
Yeah, what's this doing? Yeah, it's a bit dodgy.
No, well, apparently I'm abusing my powers, but also, I just want to say, and I'm, you know, Bastian, right? I get what you're saying. I'm going to show this on the screen, not to embarrass anybody, but so I can respond to it. Okay. I just want to make it clear that the people on the panel tonight were on here initially. I then let Crinkle come in afterwards. It wasn't a case of people come on at the same time with Crinkle just to create havoc. That's not the case at all. I brought up the incident, okay, with regards to one woman vigilante, nobody on the panel. So I just want to make it clear. I don't want to fall out with you, Bastian, because we've been talking for ages. Okay. So please don't take it the wrong way. I just want to clear it up that the people on the panel here, apart from Roger, who came in after Crinkle had gone, they were on here prior to Crinkle coming on here. All right. And it was me that brought up the
he wouldn't potentially mean some of the people in the chat that you may call trolls, you know, that are backing up. You know, and just
maybe again, I can only, you know, I can only reply.
I'm sure he is, Dan, because we've been on here from the start. Myself, Katie, and Finn.
I'd imagine so.
But I will say, MD Viz, you don't like my channel? Blocked. See you later. Now, I very rarely block people, but you know what? In fact, I haven't blocked anybody for fucking hell 2 years. Okay, because I believe people have the right to say stuff. But when you come onto a channel that you know what we're about on this channel, we're about not just about the police stuff and the public officials, but we do an awful lot, hopefully, to help people with mental health issues. And I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and allow people to prey on somebody who's vulnerable, somebody who, after spending so much time talking to her, I class her as a friend, and I will do what I can to help her. The same as anybody else on the channel.
On that phone in, when she was on the phone in and opening up and breaking her heart, really, she was opening up to everyone. It was a cracking phone in, because, you know, we all felt for her. You know, one woman vigilante, she's been through hell. The last thing that you do when something like that is to somebody who's been through that stuff is then start cracking onto her. You know, let's go out for a drink.
He acknowledged that happened, and he acknowledged initially, did he not, that she was in fact vulnerable, and then went on to defend his actions. Like it wasn't that he missed that and didn't realise that
he hasn't got the power of reason, Kaylee.
No,
no, let's peer review that one.
And I was wondering the first time I came on, Dan, and I was like, "Oh, this Crinkle's getting a load of shit in the chat there. What's going on with this dude?" But,
well, that's
he does it every stream.
Late in.
He does it every fucking stream.
Just
can I just
annoyed.
say as well?
Go on.
Can I just say as well that after this has just happened, he'll now say that we've censored him and we're acting fascist for suppressing his voice. And he'll tweet, no, bro, I know these people. I've debated many people like this. They'll then twist it. They'll then twist what happened and try and say that we were having a debate, we were losing the debate, so all of a sudden we started saying he was a sexual predator. That's how he'll phrase it.
Let him, but 130 people in the room would be more on our side, to be fair.
Yeah,
I never.
To be honest, he's only one acting like that anyway.
Right, remember, I never take a video down. I've never taken a video down since I've been on YouTube. The only videos that I've ever been taken down are ones YouTube have taken away from me. The same as yesterday with the Cressida Dick one. Okay, I put a video out, made it earlier in the day, put it out. Minutes later, she resigned. I didn't take it down because I'd spent the time making the video and doing it, and it's something to refer back to. Exactly the same as this. I would never take a video down. So if somebody wants to call me out, if somebody tries to call me out on something, I've always got the video on my channel that people can go back and check.
Your receipts.
Yeah, exactly.
No one can say anything when you have your own receipts.
Exactly.
So,
isn't it a sad world we live in, where we have to actually dot the I's and cross each T, so that we don't get idiots like Crinkle saying that we're dickheads?
Let him say the proof's here. The proof's here. He wants to come back and see.
Well, his arguments are all wank. When he said about how all the viruses look the same, this is the point I was trying to get through before, but he was just going off on one. But I did a simple Google search and I typed in pictures of viruses. They look different. There's loads that look nothing like COVID.
Some look similar.
Some do. He said that all viruses look very similar. That's bullshit. A simple Google search will prove that that's bullshit. You just Google pictures of viruses and you get loads and loads and loads of different ones that come up. So he's talking out his ass. He's just someone that's going out there trying to be provocative, but he's doing it in the completely wrong way. When he's actually trying to screw, he's trying to screw with people who are just going to ratio the fuck out of him.
No
one agrees with him.
There is a bit of feedback coming from somewhere, Roger.
Yeah.
Is it from me?
It maybe somebody might have a telly on in the background that's on very low, but it can still be heard.
No, everything's off in my place.
Everything is it from me? Everything's off.
I'm just making sure. What about the missus?
I'm blaming Smudge.
On the mobile over the other end of the room.
Sorry, say that again.
She's got the mobile on the other end of the room. Would it be picking that up?
It might possibly. I couldn't say for sure.
No, we can't blame it on the psycho's missus.
Still there.
Right. Let me see if I can find it. Henry Crinkle's just posted in the chat, but it's not come up on the.
Yeah, sorry, anybody, if I haven't replied in the chat. I I'm concentrating on one thing.
Henry Crinkles just said anyone could hit on Bryony in real life. Stop trying to make me out to be some predator, you snowflake.
But you know her story. That's the difference. Somebody in the street wouldn't have known any better. You did, and you just admitted to it.
Exactly.
That's the whole issue. You had the knowledge. It was your responsibility
exactly that.
And to deem what was appropriate and inappropriate. Obviously, we don't all know the next person that we meet in the street, but that would be an innocent, out of ignorance thing. We wouldn't know any better. You knew better.
And he's the sort of person that wouldn't care if she was or wasn't.
Oh, obviously.
No, that's right.
Because he knew she was. So obviously he doesn't care. Man, I hope you're a troll and that's not just the way you actually are as a human being, because that is concerning.
Look, I let you. I will. Right, let me just make it clear. I will let Crinkle comes on this channel, right? Even when I've got people, long-term subscribers, telling me they're going to unsubscribe if I get him on. Okay. The reason I let him on is because, you know, to talk about stuff that I normally talk about is because it's a different opinion. Okay, we're never going to agree. Okay, but it's an interesting debate. Okay, and it gets lots of people talking in the comments. However, that is completely different in my eyes, okay, from somebody having to tell somebody else that they were upset because somebody was hitting on them, even though, and there's people in the comments that saw the live stream as well that said that told you to stop, and you carried on.
He stepped over the line.
That's disgusting. Okay. Well, and he's just put, she's a grown woman, for fuck's sake. She knows how to tell someone she isn't interested. Would you say that with somebody that's got learning disabilities, or somebody that was strong-willed might turn around and say that? But this girl has had people against her and feels that people are against her for most of her life. And again, Bryony, if you're watching, I don't mean to embarrass you, and forgive me if it comes across that way. This girl feels that everybody's against her. And when somebody is in that position, okay, the last thing that anybody should be doing, and the last thing that they want, is somebody trying to hit on them.
Dan, can I come in a sec, mate?
Go on, mate. Go on.
It's wound me up. It's pissed me off. And I'll tell you why, right? Your channel is called Police Abusing Powers, but it's people abusing powers. Now, I listened to one woman vigilante, Bryony, telling us her story, telling us the stuff that has gone on, telling us the pain that she's been through, telling us, you know, walking into the sea, the hurt. And I felt for her because I'm a human being and I knew what she'd been through. Yeah, listening to her, the last thing in my mind is to abuse the power of a person against somebody who is vulnerable, who's been through shit, and crack onto them. That to me is the opposite of good, the opposite of right. It's evil. It's wrong. It's abusing his power over her.
Right. Listen, I know I said I was going to end this in a few minutes. That was quite a few minutes ago. But I've just seen Bastion down here, okay? And I've just questioned Bastion about a comment he put, and other people are saying that maybe he was talking about somebody else. I just want to bring him in just to clarify that and make sure that we're still cool. So, hello, Bastion.
Hello, Dan. How you doing, mate?
Not so bad. Yourself?
Oh, good evening. I was on the panel. No, I wasn't having a go at the guys on the panel.
Right.
In particular, the ones that are rebel rousing in the chat, the usual characters.
Bastion, can you turn the sound down in the background?
Oh, wait a minute. It's because this has just come up on speaker and I can't get it off speaker at the moment. All right, let me try and... Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just me. I can hear...
Oh, you can hear an echo.
Hear me.
Right. Yeah, there's a big echo.
All right, I'll try coming back in on a different phone.
All right, sorry, mate. Sorry.
Right, no worries. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, Josie, going back to what you said just then.
Yes, mate.
No better than the police that prey on vulnerable victims.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
What are you bloody doing?
Yeah. It's just wrong. It's wrong. There's right and there's wrong. And what he's done is wrong. You know,
and he don't even care.
Just annoys me because who taught him to be a man?
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Right. See that comment on the screen. I'll let you respond to that.
Go back and listen to your own
You
words.
admitted it, you bastard. You admitted it, you bastard. Fuck off.
You admitted it live on the stream, which is going to stay up and it's
You
going to get
admitted it multiple times live on the live stream.
My God.
You was on here that night. She was on Crinkle.
Crinkle, do you drink? Honestly, do you drink? Because I've seen people behave like this when they're a little bit drunk sometimes, you know, where they can't remember.
No, it's narcissistic behaviour. He only cares about him.
He seriously needs help, that bloke. He really does.
Yeah.
Good night, Graham.
Good night, Graham.
Is that Graham on the...
I'm not looking at on the chat there.
Yeah, Graham's been in. He's off now.
He's a grown woman. Yeah, a lot of grown women are vulnerable. Crinkle, I'm getting really pissed off with you. A lot of grown women are vulnerable and traumatized by abuses that they've suffered. A lot of things have happened in their lives. It doesn't make them fair game because they reach a certain age. That's where the men should be looking after these women.
Absolutely. That's a real man that does that.
Exactly. They're real men. That's when real men show that they're real men and not little
Exactly.
Shit.
Yeah. You don't take advantage of them, the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. A real man doesn't see a woman in a vulnerable situation and then think, oh yeah, that I could get something easily there. That's the kind of shit that fucking secondary school kids think of.
That actually implies that you've got some self-esteem issues, that you think it's okay to actually go after somebody. Being a man versus a woman, you're already physically, generally stronger and superior.
Yeah.
You're literally looking at somebody that you know is vulnerable, and you must have some insecurity within yourself to feel like you even need to go there. Why don't you go for a woman that's not vulnerable? There's plenty of us out here.
Right, Bastian. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. That's better, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Sorry about that. Yeah, I just set the record straight. I wasn't aiming my comment at anyone on your panel. It was particularly MD Viz and Richard.
Okay, my apologies. I tried to make it clear that I wasn't sure.
They thought the whole thing was hilarious. Well, certainly Richard Upton was, but now he's sort of backpedaling a bit. Just go back and look at his comments at the time that all broke out. It was disgusting, to be honest.
Crinkle, now that I've seen what sort of a person you are, you're literally the last man on this planet that I would go for a drink. Or we could go for a drink. It would get thrown over you, mate. It wouldn't be done.
Taylor, he's trolling. He's obviously trolling. Like, if he's going to comment that, he's a troll. It's very obvious now. This guy's trolling.
He's either drunk or he's a troll.
He's a troll. He's looking for attention. That's all he's doing. I don't know how big this guy's channel is, but he knows that if he comes here, he's gonna get attention, which is what he wants. And unfortunately, we've given it to him. You know.
But I've
seen this guy in the comments for weeks. All he does is talk shit.
Yeah.
This live stream was so good, and he's kind of dumbed down the whole mood of it.
Everywhere he's been, he's worn his welcome out, and he's been banned. I mean, he's upset with me because I banned him and his merry men, MD Vids and Richard Upton, because they were doing the same thing every week. And you could see it on
together. That's
all together. Civil Disobedience channel. They've done it on Dino's channel. They're doing it here. They've done it on my channel. Everywhere they go, they all hang together like little teenage girls in a playground, setting, who can we annoy tonight? And they have a good giggle about it in the background. Trouble is, people like Richard Upton think he's pretty clever about it because he'll play the double game. He'll just make out that everything he says he's joking, when in fact he's just egging Crinkle. But you can work out the double act. It's just treble act.
They're trolling. It's very fucking obvious that they're trolling. Yeah. Because when we actually tried to have a debate with them or with him, it was a car crash for him. He counteracts his own points multiple times. He's not consistent with his points of views or his arguments. None of it's consistent at all, which kind of proves either you're just fucking here to bullshit people or you have something wrong with you. Because everyone else in this panel was
look how topic we've gone for the last. This is what they do, isn't it? They get.
Well,
you
look, I've got.
necessary.
Let me be honest. Sorry to cut you off there, Kaylee. You know, I brought up that situation with one woman vigilante, so you know we can't blame Crinkle in that respect for the conversation going off on that path. That was down to me bringing that up.
I'm pleased you did though, Dan, because it just showed you the type of person that he actually is.
Yeah.
I didn't feel whether you agree with me or not, and if you don't, that's fine. I'm not going to ban you for disagreeing with me. But whether you agree with me or not, I feel that when somebody is in a vulnerable position, and they've got nobody to support them and to look after them and to protect them, okay, I do what I can, okay, to try and help that person, whether it's her or a male member of the community. I would be exactly the
but Dan, you've built the PAP community on that.
That's one of the core
You've
values.
built the PAP community.
Yeah,
and he's not even having a different opinion. This is from a moral perspective. This isn't this difference of opinion, like if you want the vax or you don't, or something like that. This is about your moral compass, and if it's in the opposite direction to this channel, then fuck off. Simple as. You can agree or disagree on opinions, that's fine. But when your morals are in the complete opposite direction to the rest of the channel, then fuck off to another channel where they support hitting on women who are vulnerable, you know?
Yeah.
Right. I see Chris sitting in the back studio there. I don't know if you can hear me, Chris, or not, but I can only have 6 people on at a time.
That's fine. I'm going to leave anyway. I'm outside the gym. I'm going to leave it there.
What I was going to say was, now I know I can do StreamYard through OBS. I will start using this not every weekend, not every Sunday, but I will start using this now and again and get people on to chat on video rather than just phone as well. So
this is the only one that I've learnt to use so far. I'm still trying to figure out how to do my live. So.
Right, okay. Well, we'll do that. We'll do that occasionally, and we'll do the phone in as well. I don't know how to run the phone in through this yet. So what I'll do until I learn is I'll do the phone in sort of 1 week, or do this another week, or do this for 1 week and then turn the chat off and just do me with phone calls for a while. Or we'll figure something out anyway.
Yeah,
but
great.
Finn, thank you for jumping on. I appreciate it, mate.
Thanks, Finn.
No worries. It's been fun. It was nice to see everyone. When's your next live stream? I want to make sure
Sunday.
It'll be on Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock Sunday.
Amazing. 8 o'clock till whenever he falls asleep.
That's the one.
I'll be there.
Right, Finn.
I need to get Caleb's email as well.
Have you got a channel?
Talk about.
Are you connected to something?
Mate, I used to have a channel, but YouTube took it down.
Are you in touch with
I used to
Dan?
have a channel.
Are you in touch with
I have him on Skype and I got his email.
You've got. All right. So
Yeah.
if we do it through you, is that okay?
Yeah. Drop me an email, Finn, and I'll get Katie's email off her.
Excellent.
Amazing. Yeah, lovely chat with all of you. I'll see you all on Sunday. Have a good evening, everyone.
Crinkle, in the chat.
Take it easy, Finn.
Mate.
Time, mate.
Thank you.
Take care, Finn.
Time,
Take care, everyone.
Nice to have heard the voice, Joe.
Hello, Chris.
Hey,
Chris.
Yeah, fine.
Cool. Sorry about the delay in getting you on. Oh, hang on a minute. I've just been told Crinkle's apologise. Where has he apologised?
No, I think you might have misread that. I think they're telling him to apologise.
Oh, okay.
That's what I read a minute ago. Anyway, I might have missed something else.
Right. No worries. So, what's happening, Chris? Enjoying the live stream?
But nothing's happened much.
I'll see you about. Have we spoken before, Chris?
No, people know me on YouTube. I used to be a prison officer.
You used to be a prison officer.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough.
Everyone knows me.
Okay. How comes you used to be a prison officer? How comes you're not anymore? If you don't mind me asking.
Some of the managers are a bit cocky.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Look, I can't deny with that. Can't deny that based on what we've heard over the past few years. So fair enough. Fair play to you for getting out, mate. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I suppose it's a bit like, or as a guess rather, is it a bit like the police community? Do you have, when you're a prison officer, do you tend to stick and hang around with other prison officers, outside of work and things like that, or is it slightly different?
Well, sometimes, yeah, but you don't want to communicate with them,
right? I wouldn't either. Oh dear. So who is it you follow on here? Who do you normally follow on here? What channels?
Live Free, Film Boy, and Tubbs, Kringle, and Fighting Trolls. Yeah, Fighting Trolls was in the same jail as me.
Right. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure who that. I don't think I've seen that Fighting Trolls channel. I don't think I've ever heard of him. I've heard of all the others, but that's a new one to me. I might have to check that one out.
Quick question, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you know Paz?
No, I don't know him. I just see him on YouTube a few times.
Is he the ex-army
I've heard
guy?
your accent's Welsh as well.
Paz, that's the ex-army guy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Ex-army guy who left the army, joined the prison service.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I didn't think he was still going. I thought he got.
Yeah, Paz he's still about. He's still giving his opinions.
Oh, I'll have to. Where's he hanging about now?
Still under Paz, but I'm not 100% sure.
He's still on YouTube. Oh, right. Okay.
He's still on YouTube.
He's still on YouTube.
Right.
Just still on here. I'm part of Reverend Lord Simon Sideways Discord, and he has when Paz uploads a new video, I get a notification through that Discord, so I know he's still on YouTube.
Right, I'll have to check him out. Yeah, he's like Paz.
Pubs. Do you? Yeah, Pubs. Do you think it's too easy to become a prison officer and a copper?
I personally, from what I've seen and heard over the past couple of years, the entry level of becoming a police officer has dropped.
Yeah.
I have heard that they're making certain aspects of the program easier in order to allow, shall we say, minority groups to become part of the police force, to bolster their numbers in, maybe gays and lesbians and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? And, no offense. I know some gays who are as hard as fuck. Okay. And will give any copper a run for their money.
Yeah.
But if we see a lot of the people that are being brought in now, I saw a video today. I've seen a copper with a tattoo on his hand, all up his knuckles and everything, completely unprofessional. And I've seen 3'0" police constables get ragged about, and then complain that that they've been assaulted, and it's not even assault; it's just where somebody's pulled away from them and they can't hold on to them, and they might have broken a nail or grazed their finger. The selection process has bottomed out, and they've made it so much easier for people to join.
Yeah, Pubs, do you think it's too easy to join a prison service? You have to do English and maths tests and the fitness tests. They pass you.
With the I don't really know a lot about the prison service, to be honest. I've got, I'll be upfront with you there. I do think.
Yeah. No, I think. It's too easy to get into that job because there's new staff all the time, and Well,
I think
it's so easy to get into that job.
It's G4S do a lot of the prisons now, don't they?
Yeah.
And G4S is a security company or some kind of management company. They called themselves, didn't they? If I remember rightly. But I think that the training. I know people that have trained security for G4S. And I think the training is terrible. And when I say terrible, I mean they don't get a lot of training. Okay, I know somebody that was given an SIA badge after a few hours of sitting in a room and being told the answers. I think that anything where you have control of another person's rights, anything in a situation where you have to potentially use a weapon, I think you need extensive training.
Yeah,
I get that it's costly, but when it comes to prisons, we use that as an example. When it comes to prisons, most of them are corporations now, not government run. Okay, and they're all about making money, so they have the money to pay to train people properly, even if it takes a few weeks to train them properly or months even. Give them proper exams to take, give them proper theoretical situations to deal with.
Dan, can I come in there?
Go on.
Yeah, well, one of the things, I mean, we've all come across it. I knew a guy who had God knows how many academic qualifications. He had, degrees and everything else, but the guy had absolutely no common sense. He could pass all the maths exams and the English exams, but when it came down to common sense, when it came down to morals, when it came down to ethics, when it came down to how you live your life the correct way, he couldn't do it. He was flummoxed. He just didn't know.
Yeah, Pops, it's too easy to get promotion in the prison service.
Absolutely. You come in.
Pops, you got clever people doing that job. I didn't do stupid things. Corruption.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, again,
academically now. I mean, I can
Pops. I'm not clever. I never done stupid things.
No, I think there's a lot of people in all these services, not just prison services, and I can't just talk about prison service because, as I've already said, I don't know enough about it. But I think there's people in all these services that feel that once they're in, they are in a way untouchable.
Yeah.
We do see people getting hauled out and up in front of courts and misconduct hearings, but very rarely do we see them with any real punishment. And I think that people know this. If you knew you could get a job and literally do what the fuck you want, and all that they're going to do is get you to leave, then everybody will be applying, because they wouldn't give two shits. And I think that's the problem with all of these services. As I say, if you're giving somebody the rights to use force against somebody and make those decisions, they need to be trained properly.
Yeah, Pops, what do you think about a manager just being nasty to his staff?
I think shit rolls downhill. I think if a manager or CEO or whatever, or commissioner or SO, I think if they treat the staff like shit, the staff will start treating the inmates like shit, the same way as the police start treating the public like shit. Shit rolls downhill. You need to lead from the front. You need to set the example from at the highest position. But again, people get these positions, they forget because they're not in the field, so to speak. They sit in their office, they hear what's going on, but they're not out there themselves, and they forget, and they get comfortable in their office, making their hundreds of £1,000s a year wage, making decisions based on nothing but what they're being told, paperwork.
And the managers take a piss out of some of the staff too.
Yeah, again, same thing.
Perhaps it's not nice.
No, I bet it's not. I can imagine.
They took a piss out of me a few times.
Yeah,
it does not.
You know,
go on, Josie.
It's that idea of if you want to earn respect, and listen to that word, earn. You earn respect. You don't order it. You don't demand it. You don't take the piss out of your workers. You support your workers. You give them your ear. You give them your time. You listen to their complaints. You try and solve their complaints. You don't take the piss out of them, because then you lose the respect from your workers.
Yeah.
And
again,
natural leadership is it's an organic process.
It is, yeah. So they're trying to do everything academically now. I mean, years ago, I had an old flight sergeant when they started bringing in non-commissioned officers straight out of university, and he said, trouble is with these, he said, they can work out the viscosity of marmalade, but they can't take the fucking lid off.
Absolutely. You know, it sums it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pabs, do you think a justice? Yeah, do you think a justice system is a mess?
Well, yeah, of course it is. Yeah, the whole thing needs an overhaul. I'm not necessarily suggesting that sentences need to be changed, as in what's on paper, what's in legislation. But when it comes to it, we find a lot of judges will give a non proportionate sentence for the crime, and it's not a deterrent.
Yeah, Pabs, do you think we need better coppers and better prison staff?
Definitely better coppers.
What do you think about prison staff and managers?
Again, I don't deal that often with prison staff, prison officers. I do know, all I know is what I come across during my research for stories, and yes, we do get a few, which I highlight when they come out. But obviously, the police are sort of the main focus, because there is far more stories that come out about the police than do prison service. But there are people in the prison service who are or who are committing crimes and who do get away with it.
But mostly it's the women.
Well, women are, I think.
I'm not being sexist. It's mostly the women.
But there's been a lot of smuggling issues, isn't there? And there's been a lot of males involved in that as well. I think it's probably easier for women in a male prison to be manipulated by a few, but I think it sort of balances out. I think there's just as much corruption going on with males as there is females, to be honest.
Yeah. Like I said to Paps, these women are clever and they're corrupt.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's like what Pat said, it rolls downhill, unfortunately, and it always manifests at the top. And it's the same with managers. She is a perfect example, Strap-on, of someone making multiple mistakes throughout their career and continuously being promoted for it. I mean, with the Mendez situation years ago, she was promoted not long after that. Then she becomes police commissioner. Multiple mistakes, big cluster fucks on her watch, and she's continuously got by. And I mean, she's had a good running. What is it, 14 years she's been in that post? Is it 14 years, Pat, or something like that?
It's been a good long while, isn't it?
Dan, sorry to change the subject here, but could I just alert, because everybody else in the normal chat won't be able. Can you see the private chat right now? And can you see that? I have not been speaking for about a good 10 minutes. Can you see what Crinkle's just written directed at me?
I've seen it, yeah.
What, at 10:48?
Yeah. Stop. I wasn't even speaking. Kaylee, stop trying to sound clever. You sound as thick as shit.
This is a good example, Kaylee, as to why I banned him on my channel. And he gets all upset. He's a narcissist. He's a control freak. If he doesn't get his way, he turns to this nastiness. And that's when I banned him and his little band of merry men that are just the same. They'll try and play two-faced. They're two-faced. It's like a two-faced attack. 1 minute they're backing him, they're egging him on. And the next minute, when it goes sour in the chat, they'll try and change their tune. It's like some sort of psychology they're trying to use on everyone, and they do think to themselves that they're being clever and no one else can see it. But the thing is, what I found is, you know, I mean, I tuned in when PAP started, and there was a great conversation going on about what is going on, what we should be discussing. But these idiots come in and they suck the life out of every channel they come on. The focus totally changes, the conversation dies, and then we're all arguing about what they're saying and what they're doing, and you know, everything else that we're discussing gets forgotten.
Standard trolling behaviour. I'm very used to this. I'm very long in the tooth at this kind of a situation. Yeah, you can spot them a mile off.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, I've just Nathan. Hello.
Good evening, Nathan.
Hello.
Are you on mute,
Good evening, Nathan.
Hello.
Hello.
Nathan might be on mute.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, can hear you, Nathan.
Yeah, most of you don't know. My name's Nathan Kirkton, formerly of the White Pen Dragons, now CMW.
How you doing, Nathan? You right?
I'd like to comment. A lot of people, not bad. How are you doing yourself?
Not so bad, mate. Thank you.
If I may, I'd just like to add a couple of things to what we were talking about earlier.
Go for it.
It's across the board. It's across the board. Basically, standards of training has been lowered under some ethnic laws. Basically, it's for minorities. It's like, i.e., the fire brigade. If you're non-ethnic, you have to score 70% in your test. If you're of an ethnic background, you only have to score 60. They've done the same thing with constables.
It's all this positive discrimination stuff, isn't it?
It's like a sports day. Everybody gets a medal, right? Whether you took 20 seconds or you took 50 seconds.
Everyone's a winner.
Everyone's a winner.
But it's
Do you know something, Dan?
I think it's a mix of two things. Yeah, there's that with the ethnicity thing. But I think this all stemmed from the early 90s, mid 90s onwards, with Common Purpose, where the
very much so.
Acting beyond authority thing comes along. This is why we see the police acting the way they do now. Common Purpose were very clever how they manipulated this. They got people in at the top at senior positions onto these training courses, these matrix courses, and shaped their whole way of thinking and management. And it was this future leaders thing.
Jeremy Corbyn went through it, didn't he?
Yeah, a lot of them have. A lot of politicians, the NHS, the police, the military services. This is why the services has gone totally woke now. They're more worried about what size handbag you've got than what you've got, you know, muscle. The police, the fire service, as much as they've tried it with the fire services, I think they've resisted it more than any of the other services.
They have, but they lost the court battle over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could this be why? Sorry, can I just say? Could this be why some of the police and crime commissioners are trying to take over the fire service as well lately?
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Basically, all emergency services, they want to be controlled from one hub.
And
we're already seeing this in the 101
local councils.
Basically.
What's happening is the separation of powers are reducing. So when the separation of powers gets down and funneled down to one particular point, then who's answerable? No one's answerable. Who's gonna interview certain police force? Should there be misdealings going on there, or who's going to investigate the fire brigade if there's something going on there? The separations of power.
It's like Sue Gray investigating Parliament. And
I mean, this has been happening for many years, many years. I mean, going back to a case I had in the High Court of Appeal over corona legislation. I cross-examined a constable under oath, and he had to admit that there has been a complete change of training in constables. They are no longer trained in our constitution or enable rights.
No, believe it.
They are basically just trained in, and it's the same with our barristers, our judges, and our sisters. It's a legal training, not a lawful training.
Well,
also their allegiance is first to the crown, then to the court, and then to us.
Yeah.
So we are low down on the pecking order.
I think the new uniforms.
I mean, a lot of people mistake. They are there to serve the public, but they are actually crown
employees, not public servants.
Yeah. Which is what you find the police saying a lot of as well lately.
Common law and their jurisdiction, they are to uphold the law to the land.
You came in a second ago, Dan, and you said positive discrimination.
I did.
There's no such thing as positive discrimination. It's just discrimination. Somebody's got to be discriminated against.
Yeah, it's an
oxymoron. I know that.
There is no such thing, and it winds me up because who's the ones that are getting discriminated against? White British males.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Kaylee.
If you take the global population,
not her over there. She's not getting discriminated against. She's a woman.
if you take the global population, the Caucasian people are actually the extreme minority in the world.
Yeah, 12% of the world is white. 12%.
And 90% of them feel guilty for it as well.
Absolutely.
Or made to feel guilty.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, this is it. It's conditioned into us to feel guilty for even being white, but then we're told that we've got the privilege at the same time, so it's a double whammy.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. We're told we have privilege, but ethnic denominations or demographics have the privilege of not having to do as much as us.
Exactly. It's a dangerous thing as well. I mean, if we take that Zuma incident,
would you want somebody who scored less than you should, the basic you should do, protecting your life?
Yeah, well, of course not. Go on, Bastian.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to add to that. It's like is it Zuma, the West Ham footballer that kicked his cat across the kitchen? And here we hear today, one of his football colleagues was pulled up. I think it was a street interview. He was in his car, and he turned around and said it's right. And the guy instantly turned around and said, "Well, yeah, the only reason why he's been picked out is because he's black. It's racist. There's racism, and that's coming from another footballer. And it's like, well, this is how they play the game now. And I call that, well, that's black privilege.
What about the white woman that stuck a cat in a wheelie bin a few years back?
Oh,
I remember that.
Caught on camera, yeah.
She got called out.
Absolutely annihilated.
Yeah, of course. And the discrimination here with regards to Zuma is the fact that he will get half as much abuse as she got.
Yeah,
half as much. He still gets to not only keep his job, he still gets to play in the first team. Like, he didn't even get reprimanded.
Well, I think it's France.
He missed a couple of games.
France are actually going to. I think they're planning to extradite him to France because he can get 4 years for that in France. And there's an animal rights group that's bringing a prosecution against him to get him.
The problem with that is we no longer have the European arrest warrants, and to extradite him, it's going to be so much red tape.
I think there is an emergency. We've still got emergency contingency with the European Union because they wouldn't want it working the other way as well. Certainly, like that rapist that was caught here coming over from France that was wanted for raping and killing a 14-year-old girl back in France. I think it still works. I don't think the information sharing is going to be quite the same as what it was, but certainly when it comes to extraditions, I think they're still being honoured throughout the European Union.
In a ways, yes. Again, it's red tape, and there is so many boxes to tick to get it done. It's not as easy as the European arrest warrant.
Well, I think with the British outcry, the British authorities would go, "Yep, you can have him back."
You would think
it takes the spotlight of our justice service not having to be looked at as being racist, so they'll just go, "Oh, we'll bring him back to France. Let them deal with it."
I'm waiting for somebody to come out and say, "Oh, it's a cultural thing. Cat kicking is a cultural thing."
He done it because the cat was racist.
That was so good for meme value. There's been so many good memes over that.
I might go and volley Smudge over the back fence.
and
don't you dare, Dan.
And not to backtrack, but somebody mentioned about the police uniforms. The police uniform is actually blue trousers, white shirt, and the helmet.
It's more black.
What we are seeing is officers who are dressed in black.
Yeah.
There is a
They're not
difference in
like
the
militia.
uniform, a difference in jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And many people are not aware of this.
And it does, and it works in the mind of the psyche of the people. If you look in at people that are allegedly there to protect us, which they're quite clearly not doing, they've got other priorities at the moment, and they're dressed like that. It's intimidation. It's intimidating. They do look intimidating. The amount of crap that they wear on that uniform now, just to make them look like something out of an Action Man box.
Yeah,
is ridiculous.
it's militarized. This is because
pathetic.
of basically the Israeli training.
Yeah.
But, technically speaking, it's a lot of people haven't picked up on this, but for a constable to produce themselves in a uniform that has the PC and their number on the shoulder, they present themselves as a police constable, but they introduce themselves as an officer.
Yeah.
To do so is actually in breach of Section 90, which is impersonate a police constable.
So can someone, I don't know whether you can, Dan, is there a definitive difference between a police officer and a police constable then? What is that definitive? What is that definitive?
A police constable has the authority and the authority only under common law, which is the law of the land.
Right.
Whereas a police officer enforces statute and legislation.
Wow, that's dangerous. So they
This
can
is very dangerous.
Basically civil law.
Pretty much,
well.
yeah.
But we also say that the collar number, we don't call them shoulder numbers or police numbers. We call it collar numbers because their numbers used to be on their collars of their uniform.
Yeah.
Exactly it. I mean, technically speaking, a lot of them don't do it nowadays. But by law, if you request them to identify themselves, I can get a uniform, put a number on it, and act as a constable. What they are actually legally and lawfully obliged to do is show you their warrant card.
The problem with that, Nathan, is something I picked up on the other day. A man was defrauded out of £25,000 because two people turned up at his door with fake warrant cards. Now, I've said this before, and I've always thought this: how easy it would be to get one of those warrant cards made. Okay, on a piece of card, plastic. So how can you ever trust somebody who says they're the police when they've got a uniform? People can get that.
There is a process you can do. Once the warrant card is presented to you, you have what station they come work out of. You can you have the right, and they can't stop you phoning through to that and making sure that constable is indeed employed under that.
But let's think about it. Let's think about it logically. How many times have we seen incidents of the police approaching somebody, that person asking them questions, and the police going, "I'm not here to answer your questions. You do as you're told." And if you try to pull your phone out, they're going to grab you and they're going to twist you up. It's very rare that you'll actually have the chance to make that phone call, even though recently, as Bastian said, and I think Josie might have said it as well, with regards to Wayne Couzens, Cressida Dick turned around and said that any female on their own can request that the person stopping them call through to prove that they are who they say they are to control. But again, somebody could be sitting around the corner on a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
There is no way. This is why I say if you're out and about, if you're out and about and you're on your own, okay, especially as a woman, but even as a man, if you're driving specifically and somebody tries to pull you over, marked car or not, okay, my advice is to drive to the nearest well-lit public place, okay, without stopping. Get your phone out while you're driving. Phone 999. You are allowed to make a 999 call while you're driving. It's the only time you're allowed a mobile phone in your hand. So you make a 999 call and you say to them, "I've got a vehicle following me, trying to pull me over. I don't know whether it's police or not. I'm not in a very well lit or very well populated place. I'm not stopping until I get somewhere where there's lots of people."
Okay? That is great advice. And that's what I advise people to do, and to get the license plate number.
Yeah, and people need to start doing things like that. The same as when you're stopped by the police in the street. Say to them, how do I know you're a copper? I could print one of them off. I could rent a uniform. I want to speak before you do anything. I want to speak to the police station you're attached to verify you are who you say you are. Okay.
Or you can request a superior officer to attend.
You can, but again, we see instances where police constables go, I'm not here to take orders from you. He's busy, or they're busy, or whatever it might be. There's always a reason why they can't do what you've asked them to do.
This is where the knowledge is so important, isn't it? That we know how to deal with these situations, where we need to take the onus, but how to get through these situations. And also, they're ignorant a lot of the time themselves to the fact that they're not actually upholding the law. So it's education both ways of how to.
When I cross-examined the constable in the dock in the High Court of Appeal, he didn't have a clue. And he had to admit under oath that the education is inferior. I mean, I would say in that situation, try not to resist. I know it's going to be quite hard, but the law will be on your side, because it's actually unlawful kidnap.
ITZ Corey says the problem is after a few seconds they'll declare you a foul to stop. This is why you need to phone 999. Okay, don't just drive off. You must, for your safety, okay, and to back up your story, you must phone 999. Okay, as soon as they try to stop you. Okay,
and put your hazard lights on. As soon as they try and get you to pull you over, put your hazard lights on. Then they can't say that you're evading or failing to stop.
Well, yeah, hazard lights is a good point. Yeah, but you have to make that phone call. You've got the call log. Then it's a recorded call. If the police then say it, puts a call through to HQ saying we've got a foul to stop, then the people in control room can turn around and say, well, we've actually got this person on the phone. They're going to drive to a place where they feel more safe to stop. Okay, if it's a genuine copper. If it's not, and you fail to stop, and you're on the phone to the police will ask you. They'll say to you, like, what kind of car is it? What's the registration number? If they say we've got no idea, then obviously you're already in the process of getting away from them, and they'll send somebody to come and help you. Hopefully,
they should call through and tell the officer to disband.
Yeah. So lights off, siren off, and just follow you to somewhere of safety. But again, it's a case of you have to record these interactions, the same as if you're in the street. If you're not in a car and you're in the street, get your phone out. I mean, I use body cam.
Use PACE, Police and Criminal Evidence Act. It's your right to record or document anything that you feel, whether there's going to be a crime committed or a crime in process, or your safety is in danger.
Well, it's for safety, yeah. I mean, you're absolutely entitled to film for your safety, but you must do it from the first available moment that you get. Now, if you are in a car and you decide to pull over, okay, this is awkward, because if you're in a car and you decide to pull over, and then you get your and then you fiddle about with your phone, for example, they're going to go, oh, you was using your phone, blah 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 blah. Obviously, you don't want to set your phone up whilst you're driving, but for me, I can. In fact, I've got it on here. My phone. If I double click the side button, the mapped button, right, it goes automatically to the camera. Right, I haven't got a fuck about unlocking it, going to the camera module, opening it up, and then pressing record. I do double click on the side button and then press record. That's it. Okay, very quick and easy.
Dash cams are quite cheap nowadays. I would advise most people, if you can, to get one of them as well.
Yeah, but we've got to start.
Thank you for me. I'm not going to bore you any longer.
No, Nathan, it's been a pleasure, mate. No problem, mate. It's been a pleasure.
It's just Kaylee and Rick sort of put me onto you, so I sort of come on to have a little nose, really.
No worries.
To let me on.
It's nice to have you on, mate. Thank you for your input.
Nice. More than welcome. If Any other time, let me know.
No worries. Well, I always do a Sunday. Always do a Sunday night.
Right. Well, just get in contact with Kaylee, and Kaylee get in contact with me.
No worries.
Brilliant.
I mean,
No worries.
I basically I run CMW, Constitutional Movement Worldwide.
Right.
We deal with constitutional law, common law, inalienable rights.
Cool.
And we often deal with constables and courts and stuff like that.
Excellent.
Dan,
yeah, thank you for having me on. It's been lovely.
Oh, hang on, Josie, 1 second. No, right. Again, you're welcome, Nathan. Again, thank you.
No, thank you. I'll let someone else come on now.
Cheers,
thanks, Dan. Thanks. I was just thinking about that, Dan. How crazy, how ironic it is that we're having to teach ourselves and our children and each other the ways to protect ourselves against the police.
Against
who
the
are
people that are supposed to protect us.
It's mad and crazy.
It's absolute madness, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's irony to the point of sickness that you sit there and say this is madness. They're getting paid out of taxpayers' money, and yet we're having to teach ourselves basic law, basic rights to protect us against them.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's madness, madness.
Yeah. Perhaps. Do you think some press? Yeah. Do you think some press officers are scumbags too?
There are scumbags in every industry.
Yeah.
I couldn't say that they're any more scummier than any other particular profession, but they do have a certain level of professionalism that they must abide by, and many other jobs don't have that, so they are held to a higher account. So when they do fuck up, they need to be dealt with properly.
Yeah. Like you know yourself, the justice system is a mess. People going to prison never took drugs and druggies.
Yeah.
And the probation service, it's a mess.
Yeah. Well, again, it's not a case of rehabilitation for many places these days. It's a case of it's a case of repeat business. Yeah, of course. If they let somebody out rehabilitated that's never going to come back into prison, that's a customer lost. That's several £1,000s a week that they're not going to get anymore.
Certainly now it's privatised. Yeah, well, the most of the prison service is privatised. Yeah, it's like an umbrella maker. They want
you get 40,000 you in for 12 months in prison.
Really?
Yeah, a prison does.
I'm gonna put some bars on my bedroom window. That's just to stop my date from escaping.
Oh dear.
Oh, you're sick, Dan.
Pubs.
Go on, Chris.
It's two prisons near you. You got Walton and you got Arcos.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've go on.
No. Everyone says Arcos is cushy, but Walton, you don't want to go to.
I don't want to go to any, and thankfully I've never been to any. I've been quite. Don't get me wrong. I've done some things in my time which I'm lucky that I haven't been to prison for. I have paid the price for it, but I'm lucky I haven't been to prison for it, and I wouldn't want to go either. Not for something. It's a discussion me and Kaylee were having. I'd go to prison for something I believe in. For example, if everybody decided they weren't going to pay the council tax, like everybody, and they didn't, and I got locked up for it, I'd go as long as my cat's looked after.
Yeah. Perhaps you might go to prison. Well, of course, you're not a druggie. You might become a druggie. You come out of prison, you're a druggie.
Yeah. No, I know, and it's not just that. It's in you get there's a lot, and I'm not I'm not using this as a tool, by the way, people, but you get a lot of the Muslim gangs in prisons who try and convert people to
a lot of radicalization. That's what I was going to say. I didn't know whether or not to go there, but a lot of radicalization happens within prison.
Perhaps drugs, phones is big business in prison.
Yeah, but it is absolutely. Well,
that's why it's so much corruption.
Yeah. Again, this is people. Money breaks people.
Yeah,
money breaks people. Okay, and the more money you get, the more fucking broken you are. The easier it is for somebody to find a crack and corrupt you.
Perhaps someone offers you £1,000. Well, you might be corrupt. But you might get caught.
If I was doing a job, let's put it this way, right? If I was Prime Minister, honest truth, if I was Prime Minister, okay, and I had the power and the respect of people, and somebody come to me and said, I'll give you £10 million if you do X, Y, Z. First thing I'd do is I'd go out and I would tell the public.
Yeah.
Okay, and the reason I'd do that, okay, is for respect.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd respect the people that put me where I am. Okay, and I want them to respect me. So I would be honest and I would say, look, guys, somebody's just tried. We're going to fuck this person now because they've just tried bribing me.
All right, that's why they're so heavy with contractors, certainly in the forces. That if you do a contract with anything like the Ministry of Defence, is that when they do the checks on you now, I think it's a VC check they do, and it goes into your finances. If you're in any sort of debt, then they're not going to take you on because they think you're then open to being blackmailed or
But that's the same, I believe, with the prison service, isn't it? They check your financials. I know it's the same with the police. It's to stop you from being in a position to be bought.
Yeah.
But
necessarily, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that because I think if anything, there's been lots of well-to-do senior officers that have been corrupted, and they've not had financial problems in their life, and
of course,
so I think it's a bad litmus test to pull off. It's just if someone struggled in the past with finances, then I think most people now. This is why they're struggling to get people, because most people, certainly in recent years, certainly since 2008, have had some sort of financial struggle in one way or another.
Yeah, Perhaps. Do you think? Do you think my brother's in the armed service? Do you think I'm the more professional to the police and the prison service?
The armed service, maybe they used.
I'm the more professional.
Maybe they used to be. I would say. They have gone woke. They have gone woke.
Like
yeah. Well, they've gone woke, and the other thing as well, and we're going to have to wrap this up in a minute, boys. I'm afraid. The other thing as well is that that they too over the years with what's that phrase that was used earlier? Common purpose.
Yes.
Common purpose training and things like that has turned many of them into absolute wet wipes that will just go, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir. Whereas years ago we would find people in the armed forces that turn around and say, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
You may not find many, but you'd have found more years ago than you do now. Now it's just a case of yes sir, no sir, how deep would you like me to take your shaft, sir?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
agree with that. Yeah.
So,
guys. I thought he was more professional to police and the prison service, but it's not.
Maybe they were, but I don't think they are anymore. Think they are anymore. Right, guys, I'm going to have to wrap this up now, I'm afraid. Chris, thank you so much for jumping on. Much appreciated.
Right,
Bastian, you as well. Sorry if I misunderstood what you were saying earlier.
No worries, mate.
Josie, always a pleasure. But I am still shocked that you're an Oz.
Yeah, don't be, mate.
Just do me a favour before we go. Just say.
No, I won't say it.
Oh, go on.
All right.
Go on.
Throw another shrimp on the barbie.
Actually, I
can see the pup from here.
I wasn't going to ask you to say that. Actually, I was going to ask you to say that's not a knife. This is a knife.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
There we go. Brilliant.
Can I shout out to Princess Holly? I love you. Too late.
Yeah, no, of course. Kaylee, absolute pleasure. Thank you for jumping on.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful. Great stream.
Hope you've enjoyed yourself.
Massively. Massively. Yeah, like it's dynamic, if nothing else, right? It goes up and down, but that's what it's all about. I love this type of discussion. It's brilliant.
There you go. Josie, message on the screen for you.
Oh.
All right, guys in the channel, in the chat, thank you very much for being involved. My apologies as this live stream wasn't the normal type of live stream. I've literally not seen as many comments as I would do normally. So if I've missed anything, I apologise, but I appreciate every single one of you for jumping on and joining us this evening. I know it went from one thing to another, but do you know what? I've had quite a laugh tonight. I've quite enjoyed the way that this has worked out. So this is something that I'll be doing a little bit more often, and I do hope you'll join us for that in the future. With that said, I shall wish you all a good night. Stay safe, look after each other, film the police and other officials.
Nice one.